We're going to go out there, put out a great performance and get a great win.
Hey!
Tonight's gonna be a good night!
In cruise control, Liverpool 0, Arsenal 2. Terrific goal, and Arsenal are 2-0 in front.
Oh my God!
Nah, come on, that's not a penalty.
That's not.
Ref's giving a penalty. 2-1.
No, I still feel confident.
It's penalty.
Hey! Chili for them? Oh my days, you missed it!
Wait a minute. Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Oh no! Where was the defender? Turkish. Must be new.
Oh, I don't even want to talk right now. I'm vexed. Jorge says if we don't get 3 points today, it's done. I'm kind of with you on that one, but listen, I need to.
You can't say that.
I can.
Ball in. Oh.
Fucking start applying some pressure for fuck's sake. Look at this, look at this. Just pass in our own half. Who's doing flicks at this time? At this time, the whistle has gone.
Oh my God, man, I didn't want to draw.
It does feel like all chips are in City's favour now, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, of course it does, Laurie, man. Come on.
Yo. How did that happen? Me and Matisse.
Oh my days.
But you are coming off the saddest.
It's mad, isn't it? We're getting clips for fucking draws now. It's all crazy, but how far we've come, man.
Someone's losing
No
a job
brown
this morning.
Oh,
Yeah,
bro.
Someone's losing
No
a
brown
job this
envelope
morning.
today. Tell you that.
Yeah, I don't know about Thuggery in New York no more. That's for sure, man. We might have to reevaluate.
Did you go home to cry after the draw?
Cry after the draw?
Yeah.
Nah, man, it's not over yet.
Are you sure? Because that's what you told Laurie.
You told Laurie it's done.
You told Laurie it's done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it is done, but it doesn't mean it's going to be done. I felt like it was done when they beat us at the Emirates and then took over, but we came back from that. So it's up to them to prove me wrong, innit?
That's not really making sense to me, but okay, bro.
I want to know how the fan base is feeling now. Is it bigger fish to fry? Is it? I genuinely want to know, like, what's the latest rendition of the Arsenal fan base at the minute? Because I'm always kind of like, watching out, man. So I don't know. I know Turkish, you're a real one, but
What are you trying to say? They're pescatarian?
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe a bit of vegan. You know what I mean? It's one of them.
To be honest, you know how I felt about going out the Europa League. I wanted to stay in the competition. For me, it wasn't a bigger fish to fry thing. I wanted to stay in and try challenge for something. What's that?
That's step from Lee Gunner.
What the fuck is that? A fish head?
Fish that you lot are fried. That's what Lee said. Big up Lee Gunner, man. That's my guy.
Wow, that looked like a snake, that.
It ain't easy. It ain't easy, man. It ain't easy. Listen, man, it's one of them, man. Feeling the pressure, man. This is title time, innit, man? This is where heads need to be, strong, man. Listen, Arsenal, man. We're counting on you, man. Well, I am personally. I mean,
What are you counting on them for?
You can't say that, SAEED.
What do you want off them?
What?
Well, obviously, he's a United fan, isn't it? So he's gonna.
I'm a United fan, innit? I'm just saying, I'm counting on you guys, man. Arsenal, man. Don't bottle this, man. We need you.
I forgot that I was on the most shameless show on YouTube. I really did forget that when I entered the StreamYard link. I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be a great football chat, and yeah, I did definitely forget the vibe on this show for sure. Say, come on, lad, you can't really be saying all this. You know what I mean? Just one of those things. Like even Leeds.
No, listen, I don't want Finger to win, innit? I don't want Man City to get the free-peat. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, Arsenal, get your act together, and let's do this, man. You know what I mean? Heads up. That's what they're saying, innit? Heads up. We go again.
Let's do this.
Go again.
You want to worry about this Thursday night. Forget about title races. Worry about Thursday night.
No, but I'm just asking, unless there's sharks around, Hugh, can you let them know? Is there any sharks around?
Listen, the shark's getting closer, man. The shark's getting closer and closer. The jaw has opened now. It's ready to snap. It's getting closer, man.
Look at SAEED. How can you rally up the City fan?
I need some energy, man. I need some energy.
Do you remember now why I told you it's not a real rivalry?
It's all his fault.
Got a fish to fry, eh?
That's an awful looking fish.
It is an awful looking fish. It's a fish that got dumped out of the Europa League. It's a fish that's out of both cups, and it's a fish that might be trophyless alongside my other clubs on this panel. So it's a nice fish.
Show us your pan. Show us the Chelsea pan next. Let me see what's in the Chelsea.
My pan is blue. Do you know what I mean? It's a rare fish. You guys claim that it was red. North London, say that London was red and whatnot, blood all over the place. Let's see what the shark is saying, man. You know what I'm saying? You said you was gonna win this league, so I hope you're consistent with that. Said you back the boys, man. You're gonna.
That's after you all forced it out of him after about 10 consecutive shows.
He said they're gonna win the league, so you have to stick with that.
Fair dues.
I said we should win the league. Let's not forget we should. Yeah, let's not forget the key words here. Yeah, you lot are saying we must. I said we should win the league.
Nah, I swear, Turkish, I'm not even gonna lie. I think you actually did say that you were gonna win the league.
Man. This show goes on for 2 hours and a half sometimes. Maybe they tired me out, and that was it, man. Maybe I did say it.
That's fair, man. That's fair.
You think I give a shit about what these men are saying after drawing 2-2 against West Ham? That alone is enough to piss me off. I don't need you, man, to be pissed off with what's going on at the moment. But at the end of the day, look, we fucked up. Liverpool's one thing. Obviously, I look at that and I still think it's 2 points dropped from going 2-0 up. I understand point gain, second half, it was peak. Ramsdale man of the match, cool. But West Ham, like SAEED, you mentioned pressure, yeah. To me, I don't think it's pressure, because if it was pressure, to be honest, I think Arteta said in the press conference, if it was pressure, we wouldn't be starting games the way we have against both Liverpool and West Ham. It's like we go 2-0 up and we get comfy. We start passing it around a bit more. We're not as direct. We're not as quick in the transition. We're just kind of a bit laboured with it. 2-0, keep possession. In both games, it was way too early for that. And both teams capitalized on it. So at the end of the day, it is points dropped. But as much as what I said to Laurie is done, I do feel like Man City will win the league. I do feel that. But it's not over. It's not over. That's the thing. It's going to come down to Etihad. If City win it, obviously they win the league. If Arsenal win it, I think we win the league. If it's a draw, then it's all to play for still, in my opinion. I think it's tight now. It's 4 points. They've got a game in hand. Let's say it's 1 point. No more slip-ups. We can't afford anything else now. We can't afford anything else. It has to be all wins and a draw at Man City. That is what wins us the league. And obviously people will mention Newcastle away, but you can, if you really deep it, we can go on a run like that. We've shown that previously. I don't think the pressure's got to us yet. It might get to us now that we've drawn 2 in a row. So I want to see how we come out against Southampton, because we should really put them to the sword. If we're really if we're really going to keep hold of this after that result, we should, make light work of Southampton. We'll see what happens. But the pressure hasn't got to us.
Do you think the manner of the point, obviously going 2-0 up and conceding 2, same as the week before, do you think that's going to play on their minds if they take the lead again? Because it's about putting the foot on the pedal and actually slapping teams, because you could have absolutely destroyed West Ham. You were 2-0 up in 10 minutes. I thought it was going to be a long day. I was thinking it's going to be 5 or something crazy.
Complacency, man.
Yeah, look, complacency is the right word. TOBS just said it. That's what it seems like to me. Because we start games the way we've been playing all season, like quick, dominant, keep possession, create chances, direct, get it in the box. We was doing that at the start of the Liverpool game. We was doing it at the start of the West Ham game. As soon as we go 2-0 up, even if you look at the stats and the data and whatnot, it says the intensity goes down. Arteta said it himself. You don't even have to look at the data. He's there managing them. He's there watching them. Something happened at 2-0 where he puts it, they misunderstood what to do at that point of the game. The reality is it was way too early to kind of go back into second gear and think the job was done. As a fan, I thought the job was done, but it doesn't mean they should.
Yeah, I think it's a bit strange that they're thinking that at this stage of the season, because I would have thought that would be the other way around. Like they'd be like super duper nervous and they're making sure they're even overcautious. They're making sure that they don't like slip up. But I don't know. I feel like it speaks volumes on like how far you guys have progressed. That like you're talking about dropping these points, not because a team have like blamed you out of your socks like Liverpool did last week, but because you were too good and you basically rested on your laurels. But it goes both ways. I feel like obviously you know the type of team Man City are. Like if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And at 2-0 up, especially against I was saying this on Matisse's channel. You can forgive Arsenal for not winning against Liverpool at Anfield. They've lost there once all season. They beat Man City. They battered Man United, so they've beaten some tough sides at home, right? Only Real Madrid have really gone there and shown Liverpool up. But West Ham 2-0 up, one of the lowest goal tallies in the Premier League this season, in terms of goal scoring. Not really a good home record. You got to see that game out. Like you have to see that game out. And whilst I don't agree with this notion that Arsenal are all of a sudden like lacking mentality, I don't agree with that notion that you're lacking mentality, because if you were, you wouldn't be in this position in the first place. But I do think that when it comes to the West Ham game, you bottled it. Like you literally just disregarded that fixture for no reason. It didn't make sense to me.
Go on.
I mean, look, the word bottle's been going around ever since the result, and I think that 90 minutes we did bottle it. Like you said, Liverpool's a different situation, so we won't even talk about that because you're bang on with that. West Ham 2-0 up in 10 minutes. You should be seeing that game out, like Matisse said earlier, maybe 4s, 5s, 6s. Close that goal difference down. That's what I was thinking in my head. But yeah, it seems like we just thought the job was done at 2-0, and it is very early for them to listen. Every great team needs arrogance. That's the thing. Every great team needs self-belief. But to be a great team, you need to get over the line with major competitions as well, and that's the bread and butter of it. Obviously, the arrogance can come after that, and maybe the domination in control of possession can come after that because you're secure even with a 2-0 lead. We've seen Man City secure many times with that sort of lead, but we've also seen them shaky with that sort of lead, and they're the best team in the league over the last 5, 6, 7 years. So all in all, listen, we bottled the 90 minutes. I don't think we bottled the league yet. That's my thing, and I don't think we bottled the league yet. Against Southampton, like I said, we've got to go do the job, and ideally we do it emphatically. If we drop points at Southampton, then I'll go back and it's over. Yeah, it's a wrap.
Done.
I don't think the league is anywhere near done.
You can't drop points. What, James? You think you could drop points at home to Southampton?
Yes.
Nah.
We've done it. Me and you have done it plenty of times this season. I don't know why we're talking about this like it's a
we're not in the title race,
thing. It is the Premier League. Completely understand. But at the same time, I feel like all 6 teams have shown inconsistencies this season. I feel like it's very prevalent in the world that we're in. The very short-term attention spans which are being developed, and the fact that 20 years ago all your favourite players weren't getting the amplified worst mistakes on the highlight reels on Twitter, etc. Therefore, you wouldn't keep that in mind. I feel like we're just forgetting a thing. Arsenal are dead boss. They've been well better than everyone. Yeah, City have kind of caught up a little bit recently, but I think on the overall season, Arsenal have been a more impressive team. Last intention, by the way, is to be a Scouskeris, not the intention whatsoever. But I just feel like it's a little bit short-termism on what the team has done, what they've achieved performance-wise, and not to mention the fact that City do have the capability of dropping points this season. So as great as City are, now I know that firsthand, I still believe that Arsenal are. Honestly, I still think you're the favourites. You're still playing the best.
Do you think Arsenal are still going to win it?
It's still in their hands.
For sure.
Both of our hands, really.
Yeah,
I don't think that result changes anything. I don't think that result changes anything other than the psychological element of it. The fact that you've dropped points twice in 1 week. I mean, it doesn't change anything about our fixture in the Etihad. Both of us need to win that game. So it doesn't change a huge amount. But regarding Sunday, what I couldn't understand was Arteta's in-game management and his decision-making. I compare Arteta's decisions in that game to, say, Pep if he was in that situation. If we're one or two up, Pep isn't taking off Rodri. He's not taking off De Bruyne. He's not taking off a lot of the big... He took off Jesus, Partey, Martinelli, Odegaard as well. It didn't make sense to me. You looked like a team that had already won the league, and you're just giving young players or inexperienced players a run out in the Premier League. When the reality was you needed to put your foot in their necks and kill the game off.
But some weren't performing though. Odegaard, I know he scored a goal, but he kind of went flat. Partey was.
He was.
I thought Odegaard played well.
No, as in like after the goal though. After the goal, I'm not gonna lie, his influence wasn't great after the goal.
I agree with Saeed.
You know what I mean? So
I agree.
Yeah, go on.
You can't take them all. You can't take all these big hitters this season.
But you've got to change something though. But I do agree, his in-game management, it shows inexperience in it, and that's all it is. It's at this high level, it's inexperience. That's all it is. Again, like I said to you, he's done this before. Liverpool game, the substitutions were questionable. United. I'm not saying he's fully to blame because the team and the players were woeful. And I mean, they lacked a lot of. But sometimes you need to look at a manager for inspiration. And I think sometimes, the key decisions he didn't make well. I'm looking at the context of these last 3 games, not for the whole season. I'm talking about these key games that we've seen so far, when it's mattered most.
The thing is, Arsenal started off really well, man. Like probably the first 20, 25 minutes of that half, it was one-way traffic, and you could only see Arsenal putting 3, 4, 5 goals past West Ham. But I felt like Thomas Partey, his game literally just went from like an 8 out of 10 to like a 4 out of 10, like that. And then once West Ham scored that first goal, I felt like your players just really didn't recover for the rest of the game. I felt in the second half, your midfield just weren't at the races in comparison to their usual selves as well. But I do agree with that. What's that?
Zinchenko turned out to be a big loss there.
Yeah, I would say so. It's so much so that he had to end up bringing on Jorginho just to try and wrestle some control back when the game was a bit sort of chaotic. But his substitutions, like for me, there was no way on earth Gabriel Jesus should have come off that pitch. Like he was far and away your best attacker. Like there's no way on earth he should be coming off that pitch. It made no sense. Once he went off that pitch, it was like the driving force behind your attack was gone, because Saka wasn't really in the game like that. And I feel like the West Ham game and the Liverpool game, he's showing signs of maybe fatigue. I don't know, because the performances are just a completely unrecognizable to the Saka that you've seen pretty much the whole season. And Martinelli on the left-hand side, I felt like he wasn't good as well. I know he delivered a great cross, but his in-game involvement wasn't that great. So if I was Arteta, you can bring on Trossard and Reece Nelson or whoever, but you just switch the wide players and leave Jesus up top.
I agreed. He took off the guys with yellow cards. He took off Partey, who was on the yellow. He took off Jesus, who was on the yellow. Some people are saying in the chat that maybe Jesus coming back from injury is why he's not doing full 90s. I don't know. But I do think that Saka did look a little bit leggy. Everybody was saying it in my chat as well. And then obviously the penalty, it's a big opportunity miss. Do you know what I mean? It's a big opportunity miss. But I think for me, I'm not going to question the mentality, because it's the same team that beat Bournemouth late on, beat Villa late on, beat Man United at home. But I am puzzled that you would take your foot off the gas when it's a title race, you're winning, and you're trying to catch up on goal difference. So there's not really any reason not to put your foot down and try and, if you get 2-3 more goals in that game, you're closing it. And that could be the difference. You never know. So teams have won it on goal difference before. I'm a little bit confused by it, but I disagree with James on the Southampton. I think if they drop points against Southampton, they're finished. You can't drop points against Southampton.
How many games is after that, Matisse?
It's not about how many games is after. It's the fact that they've got...
It can't be because there's more points to play.
You've been in title races with Man City. You know that the margins are very fine. You can't afford to drop stupid points. They've got Newcastle away coming up. They've got Brighton at home. They've got Manchester City away. If you're dropping points against Southampton, for me, that is a sign that you're starting to falter. You're starting to evaporate.
That'll be 3 in a row. That'll be 3 games in a row.
That'll be 3 games in a row. You can't do that against Man City, in my opinion.
It's not ideal for sure, but how to generalize a whole season and how a team or a team's capabilities based on 3 performances when you've seen them play great for however many games, 25 games, etc. Maybe they've dropped off a little bit recently. There's no way to say that they can't get that back. And not to mention as well, a couple of drop results can also reinforce the agency. So, yeah, of course, it's not great if they drop points to Southampton.
Don't you think it would be... Don't you think?
Why do you think Day is gone? Just because
I don't think it's gone. I don't think it's gone yet.
Don't you think that's a reaction? Any conclusion?
I don't think he is saying it.
Guys, you don't understand the pressure of the title race. It's tough. I think right now,
I think we do, Saeed. I think you're probably the one who's at the title race the furthest back, so you're probably the one who forgets the most.
How many you won in 30 years?
How many have won? Oh, so we're doing 30 years. Okay.
No,
then,
I'm
so
just saying.
how many Champions League to say out person? No, I just want to ask you the question. It'd be nice for you to answer my question.
Are you an expert in title races?
Am I an expert?
So chill, but chill, yeah.
I've been in more
anyway,
recently than you.
Point, yeah. Can I just go back to a point? I think for me, this idea of tiredness is a bit too much because that's why you're out of competitions. You know what I mean? For me, it's pressure in it, and that's what's coming down. Now it's time for Arteta to maybe take some of the guys out of the firing line. If you can't handle the heat, if you can't handle the smoke, then let me take you out. Bring some people in who can handle it. Maybe the likes of Trossard. Then man can come in and start performing. I don't buy this idea that tiredness because you've come out of every competition. You said bigger fish to fry. You said we don't want to play 2 games a week, 3 games a week. Well, now you're playing 1 game a week.
It was West Ham that was playing 2 games this week.
But there you go. West Ham played 2 games a week. Come on, man.
So I think it's 2+2, and that's not always the case in football. You know what I mean? So, but like even in the Europa League, you switch up a little bit, and then people come on.
Man, they play their strong team, man. They play like
and your strong team can still drop points, but they also have the same capability to bounce back in the next game. So again, I just think we're being a little bit reactionary. And how many points if City win? Sorry, Toby. One last thing: if City win their next game and Arsenal drop points, let's say they get a point out of Southampton, what's the difference there?
I think 2 points?
2 points. 2 points. 2 points.
City,
with 5 games to go.
City, you have a game in hand.
They got a game.
2 games in hand.
And they've still got to play each other. Boys, what are we doing? This is the Premier League we're talking about.
We're going to have 2 games in hand. We'll have 2 games in hand.
Two games in hand, yeah.
They'll have 2 games in hand.
We already have one, and we have a cup game this weekend, so we don't have a league game.
I just think the form that Haaland's in and the records that he's about to smash, and his next game is against Arsenal, and that will be the game where he'll be potentially breaking that Salah record. He's an embodiment of that City team right now, which is tunnel vision. He is not fucking around. He is like goals every game. For me, you go in a game against Man City, you may as well understand that you're 1-0 down already. Walking out, you know, when those players, the Henrys, the Vieiras, the Roy Keanes, when you used to look at them in the tunnel, you used to think, shit, Arsenal when they was come up against Drogba. If you're coming up against Man City right now, you basically 1-0 down because Haaland's scoring. That's the kind of form that he's in. That's the kind of mood that he's in. And that team, James, you have to admit that City team is moving mad right now. They're clicking. So
for sure. But even the players that you've just mentioned have dropped points before. Even in the Invincible season, they got 13 draws. So I don't know why we're talking about from a perspective that they were so crazily bought. And of course, they're better than this team.
I feel like City have had their hiccup. They were quite messy in the middle of the season.
I get what James is saying that any great team can drop points, but what Matisse is saying is spot on. It's the form we're in right now. It's hard to see us dropping points if we continue that way. I think we've had our hiccup, and I said it all season when we weren't playing great. It's just a matter of 1 or 2 little tweaks before we get things right. And people said City won't put a run together. This isn't the same City team. They won't put a run together. We're 10 wins in a row now.
But you aren't, though. Like, that's great and all that, but you still aren't the same City team.
We're smashing teams left, right, and centre twice a week for that matter.
I'm on to you, but you're still not the same. You're still not the same. There's still susceptibilities in your
What
side.
do we have to do to be the same? Should we put 8 past Burnley or 5 past you? Like, what makes us the same?
Be more efficient for sure. That's one thing that we're talking about.
I'm not sure what you mean, mate. We're
Efficiency is key to a title race, and also one thing that City have not been able to do is win 3 in a row. So, listen, you're a victim of your own success. That's all I'm saying to you.
I hear you.
That said you're not efficient enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
That Haaland fella needs to start sticking the ball in the back of the net. Give it a chance.
Nah, he's being all right.
The good thing about Arsenal, though, is the longer the Man City go in this Champions League might also help.
Yeah, that's Man City's
all fucking greens, bro. And then they go in the Champions League and slap up Bayern as well. 3-0.
2+2 isn't always 4, boys. In football.
Well, yeah, okay. I'm glad you said in football because maths is.
Yeah, Matisse. Yeah, you thought you were going to be a little smart ass. Then I saw you. Go on, then, lad.
No tax, bro. No tax.
But what I was going to say, the more City are in this Champions League, though, the more, like I said, it might give a distraction. I don't know. Obviously. Depends on what's going on. I don't think you're going to say no, but it just depends.
No, because listen, I said this.
How do you know he's wrong? How do you know he's wrong? Because also you don't understand, like maybe some of your players, prioritising the Champions League. It's not out of the realm of possibility that you could go on.
We don't look like a team that's prioritising the Champions League because we're slapping up teams in the Premier League as well.
Wait, there. What stage in the Champions League?
I'm not saying you did.
Listen, we've won the league while getting to the Champions League final the same season, so it's not as if we can't go the full distance.
Yeah,
listen,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm trying to give Arsenal fans hope in it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to.
No, but listen, they gave themselves hope when they said it's a blessing in disguise that they're knocked out of the Europa League or knocked out of the FA Cup. And I said the same thing back then that I say now. I think it was the Babs at the time, that it's not a blessing in disguise. Trust me, I know from experience now. You don't want to sit a week after a game thinking about your win or your loss or your draw.
True.
You want to just you don't want to think about the title race. You just want to roll into the next, and let the weeks pass you by, picking up momentum. You know, Arsenal players, by the time they take to Southampton this weekend, it'll be 3 weeks since they last won a game. That sits on your mind. That's a long time.
Plays a part, but our teams are different as well. Obviously, your team's got so much experience to it as well. Our team's light, our team's very young as well. Listen, don't get me wrong. I wanted to stay in the Europa League because I knew that City could catch up to us in the league. And for what we've done this season in terms of how much we've kicked on from last season and the year before that, the football we're playing, realistically, we deserve something, but we could potentially leave with nothing. And at the end of the day, listen, I said it earlier, if we don't win the Premier League, it's a failure. But at the same time, not winning the Premier League being a failure is progress for Arsenal as well. Look at how it was over since we've started this show, where Arsenal have been in the conversation, how, you know, it was more jokes than looking at us seriously in terms of a title challenging side. This ain't no flash in the pan season, in my opinion. You look at how young the squad is, you look at how much is kicked on, you look at the potential in the ceiling. We're going into Champions League next season. That's where it really comes into, can you live up to this test? And listen, our board have got a job to do this summer. 2-3 players experienced you're on the European stage too. Then I think we can cope next season trying to challenge on all fronts. But that should be the bare minimum for us now. But like I said, it'll be a failure if we don't win it this season. But after a couple of weeks, once the transfer window kicks in, we'll see what we're doing then.
Gents, one last thing on this topic. Yeah, who's kept up with, if anyone at all, I know Turkish, but is anybody kept up with the storyline of Kamara Usman and Leon Edwards? Is this a storyline that we're all familiar with? How it went, the sequences of fights and whatnot. Brilliant. It's great to know that we've got the fight knowledge on this team as well. We're not just one-dimensional. Anyway, here's the point that I'm making. So, Kamara Usman, one of the most dominant mother effers in the UFC history when it comes to wrestling. Even when he started knocking out the likes of Jorge Masvidal, who never got chin before in his life, decisions galore. And then he goes on to fight Colby Covington, who is proclaimed to get the next title shot, and nobody could stop him, no matter how many people tried. And then there was a little guy called Leon Edwards from Birmingham who just eased into the ring, got battered 3 rounds to 1, and then chinned him. Now, here's the premise. Everyone was like, but there was a lucky shot and this, that, and the other. But just gets to a point where the crown has to be switched. And I feel like, you know, in the sense that we've dropped off nowhere near the level. But I mean, City, it's not such a bad thing if they were to drop that consistency again in the same way you saw in their fight between Edwards and Usman. And then you saw Leon Edwards go on, proclaim to be the crown. He is now the welterweight king, and the division has now got a new era underway. And I feel like that's something that we're going to see with Arsenal this season. But he's 3 rounds down at the moment. This is the thing, you know, we're talking about these 3 potential results where Arsenal drop points. That's all it is. But then there's always them last couple of games that you can never write off in the Premier League for sure.
There's two points to make. One, Arsenal are still in the driving seat. They're still top of the league. Even if Man City were to win their game in hand right now, Arsenal would still be top. So the same way we're saying Man City have got the momentum, etc., Arsenal will have it within themselves to go to the Etihad and try and get a result. And if they get a result at the Etihad, then it completely changes the outlook. However,
but they're up against the ropes, and because you've not seen them go off the ropes before, that's why I think people are writing them off for the title race, because you need to give them a chance to get off the ropes.
But the thing is, I think some Arsenal fans are writing their own team off the title.
They've got nightmares. They've got nightmares from seasons ago. All right, they're used to bottling it.
They've got
a cloud of perception.
I don't even think. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't even think it's an opposition fan thing. I think a lot of the fans that I'm seeing on social media, they're getting into their own heads, and I think that's what happens when you're in a title race. You start nitpicking, right? But there's still, like you said, 7-8 games left to go. They still have what it takes to actually win a league title. So let's see. My second point to you was, I feel like there's a lot coming from you on wanting Arsenal to win because you don't want Man City to win.
They've already be. Whoa! This is a battle that I lost a long time ago, so there's no point in me. I'm a dying man. I've got no more bullets.
I feel like there's when you made that comparison on Edwards and Usman.
It was a reference of point for sure.
Yeah. But I think that this is a Liverpool fan who isn't in the title race and doesn't want Man City to build on their dominance. That's what I sense. That is what I said.
Which would be fair.
Built on the dominance in a battle that they've already won. No, makes perfect sense. Great point.
No, you just said that you think City's era is coming to an end, essentially. Off
I
what ground? I'm
think
not
that
quite
the
sure.
crown can be switched on a temporary basis for sure. I don't see why you can't go ahead and build a new era in due course. The same way when we won the league, you came back straight away. But yeah, we like the way we ended your era of potentially winning 3 Premier Leagues in a row. You came back a year later, built a new era, and here you are, Erling Haaland, baby. Here we go, Erling Haaland FC. I get what you're saying. No, I just thought we were able to have football discussions and everyone not get so rattled. I thought that's what the premise of this show was. But no, fair dues. We've got conspiracy theorists.
James is funny, man.
All right, cool. What are we? Half an hour in, 5.8k in the building. Listen, I didn't even introduce the show properly. I didn't even introduce James. It's been a little while since James has been on. The regular Liverpool fan on Big Six Extra. Obviously, that's taking a little break. That's back as well next week. So look out for that, people. But big up James. His channel link is in the description. He is doing content, so show him some love. Subscribe to his channel and the rest of the team too. HUGH, SAEED, TOBS, Grizz, THUGGERY, even though he'll be out of a job soon on the Big Six anyway. And the official channel.
Time, man. Come on, man.
Huh?
One time. Just hold it for once, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Turkish is doing a top bowley. The second that you do one thing wrong, you go.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Doing a
Do
Chelsea.
you know what's hilarious? Do you know what's hilarious as well? Turkish it's so funny as well because Arsenal have drawn and Fabry did that. So Lord knows what he's got cooking up for me and Matisse because I know this show. There's no way on earth that we're gonna go 2 hours and we're not gonna see you for Spurs.
Listen,
so
sometimes
Skull, I can see you. I'm not stupid. I can see you. Yeah,
Matisse is just on face, man. He's like, listen, I don't care.
That's the thing.
I just want more points.
I don't even want to get the people's hopes up. There is no more clips. I couldn't believe the only one that got clipped. Yeah.
That old chestnut.
I'm waiting for it now. I'm waiting for it like right now as like we're speaking to each other.
Right, none of you man
Is the
believe me.
defo not?
Man. I don't even know how to say it for you man to believe me, but trust me, there's no clips coming. We'll see. I hope he's in the chat as well so he can say it himself, but yeah, it is what it is. You move. Let's look at the super chats. Hit the like button, people. Have we passed 1,000 likes? No, we haven't even passed 1,000 likes. Come on, people. Let's do that. Let me save that super chat there. Ivzy says, I rarely do super chats, Matisse, but don't ever disrespect Bruno Fernandes. What a performance by the maestro. Ever since you called him out, he's been brilliant.
Maestro's a bit of a strong, overused term in the present day. I'm not going to lie to you, but no, fair dues. You know, a couple of goals.
Batman off, or was that just like from time to time?
Right here in your presence. And the wonderful thing is, you didn't disagree. So I don't want to hear any.
No, I did. I agreed with you in certain terms, but I thought it was a recent comment you made or something.
Nah, brother, you're with me on this.
Fernandes has probably played some of his best football for Man United.
Yeah, man, he's proper. Yeah, proper, man.
We're going to get into it anyway. SAEED taught me not to be afraid of the cooking. So until City are ahead of us with the same games played, I'm riding with my team. I'm going down with the ship. Come on, you Gunners.
That's what it's about, man. Go with it.
James, how do you feel about new Scouts Perlo?
Brilliant. What a player, by the way. Are we going to talk about the praise of how good he played today, or is that not a part of the agenda? Oh, no, it doesn't fit the agenda. It doesn't fit the agenda for the Big Six panel. No, it's all right.
He was class. He was class. But we're going to speak on Liverpool, and we're going to speak
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but...
What do you
Thank you for the super chat, of course.
We're going to move on to... Gareth says, if that's an Arsenal fish, the Chelsea fish is a dory.
Beautiful reference.
Rob RH is
Rob
Holding is clearly cracked yesterday and overall, but was scapegoating. There was no excuse to not beat West Ham with Holding in the team, and Holding didn't tell Thomas to do a stupid flick and Gabriel and Saka to cost us too. So hey, were you being sarcastic with the first? Listen, actually, Holding, in my opinion, we know what Holding is. The drop off in levels compared to Saliba. But I can't look at any of the results and say it's Rob Holding's fault that was the result. Yes, he could have came out quicker for West Ham's second goal. And he should have done because he was one of the two playing Bowen onside. But, you know, it is what it is. Gabriel gave away the penalty and yeah.
Ramsdale as well. I didn't see Ramsdale's name in that.
Yeah, Ramsdale should have saved that. 100% should have saved that. There's no excuses there.
Is Saliba expected to be back for our game?
You know what? You know me on Twitter. I don't really believe many things off Twitter, but I did see something saying he won't be there for that game. But like I said, this is just Twitter based, so I don't know. If I'm honest with you, I really don't know. But it's the way it affects us more in terms of playing at the back, because you see the last 20 minutes of the West Ham game. All right, they're the home team. They scored a couple of goals. They're going to get a bit of, something from that. But when you're going for the title, when you're going for something, and you are the better team, and you are the ones that are going for the title, you got to start applying pressure. And we was applying no pressure, and part of that is because playing at the back, it's just not as swift with Rob Holding there, and that's just something we need to get round. But yeah, we moved.
You're right there.
Is that just me? I was thinking that,
I was thinking to myself, what's this guy doing?
I was going off 4G.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck?
I was thinking about
Hey, boys, what was Stephen saying?
Shall I take over hosting? How is it going?
I feel. Yeah, go on.
How's it going, people?
Oh my
God. We got to read the super chat, innit? One sec.
Love for the love, man.
I can't.
Love for the love, man.
Love for the love, people.
He was making a golden point as well. Whatever was going on, it was obviously the screen I couldn't handle it. Yeah, I feel like someone needs to. SAEED, you take over. Yeah, what are we talking about next?
I don't know, man. I thought we'd go through the super chats, innit? That was amazing.
Yeah,
we really go
super chats.
I wanted to host, but the thing is, obviously, I can't bring up the super chats. So I just
just read them out. You don't need to bring up on screen.
All right, cool. So from Rye26_96, he says, "Big up the panel as usual. Turks, just like you, I was completely broken this weekend. For me, I think Arsenal will fall short now, as the momentum is with City. Arrogance and complacency is an issue." What are you saying, bro? Spud me, G.
That was a proper James Milner performance. That Toby, well in. Done a job.
Smash the toes, man. Smash the bro.
I love that toes. I don't know what you listen. You lot already know Virgin Media. They're on something right now. F says the shark instigators are forgetting Arsenal could be 7 points ahead by the time we go to the Etihad. Though City will have 2 games in hand. We need to put the points on the board. End of minimum. Dow Square says these men are shameless. 15 points clear of third place, playing a £1 billion team with all the cheat codes. You better pray we don't win this title. Blue Moon, yo, MSN. Liverpool fans already told you before, we Blue Sharks are like pressure dons. We burst title races. Also, Matisse and TOBS can't laugh. Their team's finished.
Ha 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 ha.
It's all in our hands, says Ole. And Ryan again says, bottling 2-0 leads versus Liverpool and West Ham. Liverpool game understandable, but West Ham game and dropping another 2 is pathetic. Have to bounce back against Saints on Friday night. Arsenal need to be more ruthless. Yes, agreed. I don't think Arsenal bottled it, says Fuad. I think they became overconfident. I agree. They have been doing this at home, hence the poor defending at the home games. What was the point in signing Kivior? I don't think. Well, what do you mean instead of Holding?
He's left-footed, isn't he? So he's going to play on the left side, and Holding's going to be back up for the right side. So
yeah, Arnab says, why aren't Arsenal able to get control back in away games? Leeds, Palace, Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton, Europa League games. Well, to be honest, there's a lot of away games we have kept control throughout the game as well. So I agree with that last one. It's more overconfidence than anything. Without Saliba, the back four looks less composed, and we see the mistakes Gabriel's making. Turkish, do you think his absence unsettles the side? Yes, 100%. Adu says, we will get revenge at the Etihad. No point giving up. Just need to continue doing what we've been doing all season, silencing the mid-table clubs below us, or the mid-clubs below us. John, Man City fan, why do you keep mentioning the form we're in? It's irrelevant. Even when Arsenal was in form, we wasn't. You still backed us. So contradictory, crazy.
What a great point from Jonathan. Hey, is he got an agenda against Manchester City or what? Or are we just going at the Scouser who's just making a one-off appearance on the show?
Funny.
Oh, Hugh, you've gone very quiet.
Where was this rivalry?
Seriously,
You read the name, John, the City fan, mate.
I don't understand where this rivalry was when you two were actually in a title race. Now that Liverpool are not in it, suddenly you guys got smoked.
No, Matisse. It's just because they don't like hearing the truth. Even from somebody who they've beat multiple times, they still don't like hearing the truth.
I'm not sure what you're talking about is my problem. I'm genuinely not sure. You're saying our era is coming to an end, James. We're 10 wins in a row here.
Because you're sitting on a pointy fence to where you... Because you're hanging on to a thread. John MCFC has just made a great point, and I feel like I'm actually going to back John's point right there as well.
Cool.
Money well spent.
Ryan says, West Ham look like the side that played one game a week towards the last half an hour. You'd have thought Arsenal played during the week. City looked scary. James, Hugh, don't be disingenuous. Have you seen Man City? City remind me of United under Sir Alex. They are simply unstoppable. Sorry.
Apparently we're in the same boat now, Hugh.
We ain't.
We ain't. The title depends on Arsenal's mental fortitude, which is draining, and City having extreme fixture congestion. Both could easily drop points. Big up Shane. Football says Mikel didn't take Saka off because 1, it would dent his confidence in a pivotal run, and 2, bet on Chile Magic to make it right. Zinni and Jesus' experience was missed. Ricky says City fan is speaking from privilege. We don't have the squad depth City has. We lost Saliba in a Europa League game.
That's such a funny way to talk in football language, you know. Like City, the privilege. That's funny. That you did get adopted by a good family, like.
Yeah. Don't underestimate how hard it is to play on all fronts, says SK. Challenging for Prem and actually competing in all competitions is not easy. Jurassic, I've waited 19 years for a team like this, and I'm going to back them to the end. Bring on the race, win it or not. I live for these moments. Love this club. Big up, my guy.
I dare you to have that energy as well. I dare you to say that. Come on, back that.
What do you mean back that?
Like back it, like say the same thing, like agree with it.
I'm on the same wave. That's what I'm saying. Failure is going to hurt. Failure is going to hurt. But if you look at where we've come from, it's progress at the end of the day. Obviously, as a fan, I ain't going to be looking at progress the day after it doesn't happen, or the day after that. It's going to hurt for a little while because it's been 19 years. But the bar's been raised, and that's what. Listen, I see it every year. There's only one winner in the Premier League. And there's always about 3-4 clubs minimum that are doing enough in the transfer window or doing things in the transfer window that could make that attainable. One winner.
You don't get it. You're going to blame the Cronkies.
I'm not going to blame the Cronkies. You know what? The thing about it is, Arteta's taken us here. Don't get me wrong. The Cronkies have they've backed him and they've given him new contracts, and through that terrible period, They supported him when me and a lot of Arsenal fans, were doubting it, to say the least. So where we are now, if we don't win the league, the reason we're challenging for the league is Mikel Arteta and what he's managed to do with the money he's been given. Because we have been spending money, but we haven't been spending outrageous money. The money we've been spending, none of us here thought we're challenging for a league title, but we are. Why is that? It's Arteta. Let's be real now. That super chat there, I'm exactly on that wave too. I don't even want to think about not winning it because it's still there. Obviously, it's still there to be won. So I'm hoping we can fucking win it. But we're coming up against a team that, is as strong, if not stronger, than the Man United team I saw Arsenal coming up against, in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I'm not going to be a fool to think, all right, if we don't win it, it's all over. Get this person out, change this up. Now I'm fully on this, whatever man want to call it, whether it was a process, project, whatever people, I'm on it because look how far we've come. The fact that we've got man doing hate-alongs and watch-alongs watching Arsenal. When you search Arsenal games now, the amount of people doing watch-alongs for Arsenal games is mad. It's mad. And I've been through, listen, on YouTube, I've been through both eras. I've been on a Big Six season where every other week I'm getting clipped because Arsenal are fucking about. This season, I've been pretty clean for the majority of the season. And yeah, all right, I got one now. I had one after the City game. But I'd much prefer being in this situation than where I was 2 years ago or where we was 2 years ago. So yeah.
Who's doing hate alongs? KG's
one of them. You're one of them. Whether you
Me?
Hey, Matisse, I swear you've been getting views off Arsenal this season. I swear
listen,
I hope that. Hey, YouTube revenue's important, though, Matisse. I get you.
I watch everyone. Okay, I watch Man United versus Sevilla. I watch. You
watch everyone but your own team.
It doesn't matter.
I watch my team. You actually don't watch your team because sometimes you've been skipping the games. You actually say, look, are you watching this weekend's game coming up or are you going somewhere?
I'm going. Sorry, I'm supporting my friend at London Marathon. Sorry.
Hey.
Sorry.
My friend wouldn't get that support. I'll be watching the team. I'm not gonna lie.
Why? Why should I waste my time watching Spurs get poleaxed by Newcastle?
Well, then don't throw stones in glass houses. Then
no, but you said
my team is lower than yours. I am losing every single weekend. You cannot compare to my suffering right now. You're in a top 4 race. You are.
That's fine.
My team is actually dog shit. My team is actually horrendous this year. You're actually in the top 4 race.
No, we're
not. No, we got captain.
You are in the top 4 race, bro. You're in the top 4 race.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Tottenham's finished, man. Tottenham's completely washed his
How can he be finished in 5th? I'm in 11th.
No, he's mentally finished. He's clocked out. He's finished.
Freddie says, big up the panel. What is this talk of Arsenal being fatigued, especially Saka? Isn't that the point of getting knocked out of all prior competitions? Yeah, I don't buy the fatigue thing either. Don't get twisted. Just Watford says, doesn't feel over. City's concentration can drop slightly in games, like at the end of the Leicester match. Arsenal, you must. After the cheating accusations, Pep won't let us know peace for years to come. FFA says, City haven't lost in 7 games against Arsenal, 14 in the league. They need to hope the bubble doesn't burst at the wrong time. We're all serious now. Champions League Final 06. Thank you. Dave says, not watching live. Excited to hear Mattress Waffle tomorrow, though. Big up the football nerd who has 0 accuracy on his predictions.
That's a lie. I got some right this weekend.
He's like Matisse.
I was the only one to predict a Chelsea defeat. Got it right.
Nah, Todd's got the score right.
Oh, fuck.
Arsenal done. Where do we move on to next? Because there was, you know what, it is. You know what, Hugh, we move on to you next. Might as well talk about City since we're at the top of the league right now, in terms of conversation. Haaland equals the record. Pep, nice early subs, getting ready for Munich. Right now, all seems to be well for you, man, at the moment.
Yeah, great weekend for us all round. All we asked was that we win the game and keep the pressure on Arsenal, and we did that. Listen, 3-0 up at half-time, and we had that bit of extra comfort. We had that little extra leverage, if you like, to empty the bench, and people saying City fell off in the last 15 minutes, and I think it's to be expected when you bring on, or you take off 4 or 5 of your best players. We took them off in the order, like the pecking order in which Pep rates them. It was like Haaland, Rodri, De Bruyne, Grealish, giving them all a well-needed rest, and this is absolutely huge in a title race, being able to give these players, when they're playing every single 3 days, a bit of a rest. But look, massive 3 points. John Stones, I've been bigging him up for weeks now. Left-footed volley outside the box, big goal. Haaland equals the record. Remember I said during the summer, I was like, I think he's going to be possibly the most exciting signing in Premier League history. In fairness, he's had a pretty good stab with it. He's come in now, he's equaled the record with 7 or 8 games to go. So Haaland's absolutely smashing it. Like we said there a few minutes ago, his opportunity to break the record is against Arsenal. Huge 3 points, man. Keeps the pressure on them. Everybody played well. Good to get the rest of the players. I'm off to Germany now tomorrow. Bayern Munich away Wednesday night. Hopefully we can seal the deal there and keep the momentum going. I like this. I like this when we play every single 3 days. I don't want my players to have to sit on a result, whether it's a win or a loss. I don't want to think about it. Just keep going into the next, and see where it gets you. Absolutely a massive weekend for us with Arsenal dropping points. Like I said, the shark is swimming, and it's getting that bit closer. It started out, the fish got into the water back in February when we beat you, and the shark could see it in the distance. And then the Jaws music started playing. Dun, 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 and it's about to get to the point where it goes, yep, and gets you. We'll see you. We'll see. Big win.
Yeah, what happened in February? We got away again. That's the thing. I'm hoping we get away again now. But yeah, it does seem mad with what, 7-8 games to go now. With Man City on our necks. Yeah, it's all peak. It's all peak. But Haaland, I mean, matched the record, 32 goals. He's about to break it. If City do, someone said this to me actually the other day. If City do the treble, and obviously Haaland is due to break the record, is he the Ballon d'Or favourite?
They'll give it to Messi because he won the World Cup. But I
think
it should be Haaland.
And he
Nah, you've got to give it to Haaland now.
Nah, not for me.
If they win the treble.
Yeah.
Come on. I know you're a Messi.
No, but the Ballon d'Or should be for the best player. The best.
No,
who's been
no.
You're right.
How do you define best player? No, but how do we define best player? What's the definition?
As in the performer. It's not just based on team achievements, bro. Haaland is
but he's been
no. But this is a team.
Haaland,
This is a team. This is a team that's never won the Champions League. If they win the Champions League, Toby,
yeah, come on,
Manchester City and the Champions League. We're talking about potentially new Mr. Champions League and Erling Haaland because his record is insane.
If he wins the Champions League, then he is without a doubt one of the top contenders for the Ballon d'Or. But I don't think he should win the Ballon d'Or because
who's better?
No one's performed better than him, Tobes. Nobody has.
Who's better?
Who did you say, Tobes?
Messi.
Oh, but Messi's always.
That's a seed. He shouts. He won the World Cup, and I love Messi, greatest player of all time. Can't believe him and Ronaldo was ever a conversation. But let's not say right now the PSG. I don't know. He's still great. I don't want to just.
But are we just meant to forget that the World Cup didn't exist, or what?
No, that's a big thing. That's why I think it will be.
No, that's a big thing. 100%.
I think if City win the treble, Haaland should get it.
Over the course of a year.
I think they'll give it to Messi because he's Messi and they won the World Cup.
So we're limited. So we're going off a 4-week tournament, and then when the player outside of that World Cup, a player who never even got a chance to play in the World Cup, we're judging that as the premise of who should win the Ballon d'Or. I feel like Haaland has got more of a premise to be able to lift that beautiful ball.
I think Mbappe's been just as good as Haaland this season, if not better.
No, that's a good shout. That's a good shout.
But it's not led to anything, no, man.
But if he wins the Champions League, I feel like Mbappe and Haaland are on that race to the Champions League, aren't they? So if Haaland wins it, based off popularity points, which is what we've established the Ballon d'Or is, Haaland should probably
but that's my thing. I don't like the fact that the Ballon d'Or is basically
facts don't care about your feelings. Facts do not care about your feelings.
You should be in the. It's like when Jorginho was in the top 3. I don't buy that nonsense. I hate it.
I'm not asking what you believe.
Yeah, but I'm not comparing Haaland's thing to Jorginho. I already said if Man City do the treble and Haaland is their top goal scorer, scoring 50 plus goals, of course he's going to be one of the front runners for the Ballon d'Or. Absolutely. But do I think that he should win the Ballon d'Or outright because of that? No, I don't agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But by your definition of it, then Messi should have won the last 10, however many years.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, I understand that perspective as well, because Messi, in terms of pure football, no one is better than him. But I think if City win the treble and Haaland breaks, he's going to break the Premier League records.
Nah, to be fair, Ronaldo's done his thing in the ones he's deserved to win as well. And to be fair, Benzema deserved it last year because Benzema was even beyond the Champions League. But the level Benzema was playing at was ridiculous, like ridiculous. So yeah.
Right. Cool. Let me see what super chats we've got on City as well. We'll go on. D-Rush says, I swear if Arsenal do win the league, THUGGERY better have that Baby Shark song with a dead shark in a fryer to kill that big shark crap. Listen, that would be perfect. I can't even lie to you. After all the analogies I'm getting, Big Steve messaging me sharks as soon as we fucking drop points. You mentioning sharks on this show, looking in the live chat and seeing emojis of, to be honest, I think it's whales, not sharks, but I get the drift. It'll be
Big Steve to thank for all the shark stuff. He's the one that came up with it, to be fair, and we're all just following suit. I like it. I'm a big fan of the analogy. I think he dropped it for the first time outside the Emirates there on February 15th, wasn't it?
He did.
I love it. I actually love it.
He's getting a job now with National Geographic with David Attenborough talking about sharks. He's saying earlier on.
Big Steve and David. Gareth says, look at Matisse deflect. You started it when you had that rival stream trying to band together against Arsenal. People are watching you, Matisse.
Interesting accusation.
Love that, Matisse. Well done. Great response. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Styles Square says Toby looks happier tonight than all season. Perhaps he can give us his jokes about a team that throws away a last-minute lead to Bournemouth.
Happily, when we speak on Spurs, I'll give you all the jokes you want, mate.
And Diego says with current
it doesn't phase him, man. It doesn't phase him. Tell it, Toby.
No, it does. It actually does phase me. It cuts deep. I'm just. It actually cuts deep, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
So Diego says, with current form, is the fourth place now a shootout between Liverpool, Brighton, and Aston Villa? What?
No.
I'm so confused.
I love. By the way, can I just defend my friend Diego for a second? He's my friend. He comes onto my streams. He does super chats and whatever. Dabbles in. Diego's a great fella. Palace fan, by the way. So completely bias removed. That's not happening. It's not happening. At least Liverpool's not happening. Unai Emery's done his thing with Aston Villa. Brighton have been doing their thing. We are not better than any of those teams.
Where are Liverpool even in the table? Like
we're just you don't need to worry about that. It's irrelevant to the conversation.
Let me take a look.
No, they're still far away, man. Still far away.
No. Like, just let us can't chill where we are. We're above Chelsea. That's what we can establish.
9 points off.
Are you 8th?
Crazy.
You went from 8th to 8th today.
Yeah, they're 8th.
Yeah, SAEED, but like, I actually made a rule on this show that you actually cannot talk to me going into the show. Like do you like the way people like can identify as it? No, do you like the way people can identify as? I identify as someone who you can't speak to. Now, and if you don't respect that, then you're identiphobic, and that's just the way it is. So, SAEED, I'm just going to say, right, I don't appreciate anyone. Now, listen, I've got 2 trophies this season. I've got the Community Shield, and I've got that 7-Up trophy, and I'm allowed to claim it based on the premise that you claimed the Bangkok trophy in pre-season, and you're claiming a League Cup in which apparently weren't meant much last season. So, SAEED, with all due respect to a team, we won 6-1 tonight, and Leeds still done better than you. So, I am not going to allow you to talk to me.
You ain't won those yet, so why are you claiming them?
No, I'm saying we're due to kind of, you know,
you're due to win the FA Cup, right? You got Brighton on Sunday.
I said we're still in 2 competitions.
But you said you're due to
2-2 against Sevilla.
We're playing in 2 competitions. That's what I said.
Okay.
Because it sounded like you was gonna say that you're due to win.
You're here. Yeah. Are you deaf?
You know, you could be out of 2 competitions in 1 week if you're not.
We'll be there. We'll be there. We'll be there.
You'll be out in 2 games in 1 week, brother.
That was very close, by the way. That was very close. I caught you.
Yo,
I got too gassed. I was like, yeah. Nah. Come back.
Reel it in.
Enzo says, if City do the treble, Haaland 100% deserves the Ballon d'Or. We're ignoring the Casper performance by both Messi and Mbappe in the Champions League just because of the World Cup. AK says, box office performance from James. It would be quite embarrassing if Haaland breaks all records and City don't win the league, wouldn't it, Hugh?
I don't know.
Hopefully it happens and we find that. Ronnie says, United fans better pray City don't three-peat treble. Fergie would have worked 30 years for nothing. Yikes. They have everyone that's sent in super chats. That's the ones I've got saved. Apologies if I've missed any. Arsenal done, City done. Who do you want to laugh at first? Matisse or TOBS?
We can start with me. I don't mind, to be honest.
Yeah, might as well. At least you got a fight for something.
I don't mind. Go on, play the THUGGEry clip and then we go.
Bro, I'm telling you, the guy only sent me 1 clip. I swear to you. Bro.
Whatever, bro.
You know what? It's boring now. That's what it is. I think that's what it is from Scar. I think he's bored of clipping you and up all the time.
We haven't even got the 3rd episode of the whole hospital situation of TOBS singing in the hospital. I want the next episode of that, to be honest. This would have been a great time for it, actually.
That one was actually legendary.
That was unbelievable. This would have been a great time because we both lost it. Yeah. Yo.
But yeah, what can we say, man? You lot, what can we say on this absolute disgrace of a football club, man? Like, just when you think they can't sink any lower, they always find their way to plunging to new lows. Like, they literally plunge to new lows every season. I remember there was a Big Six episode where I went through a list of some of the shocking results that we've had in my time as a Spurs fan, losing to Colchester, losing to NS Mura, losing to getting battered 3-0 by Zagreb, and now Bournemouth. I get it, they're fighting. They were full value for the 3 points, by the way. Full value. I can't complain. Can't knock Bournemouth, but at home, can you imagine that we were meant to sort of propel ourselves properly into this top 4 race and lay a marker down with Everton, Southampton, Brighton, and Bournemouth. Like, you should be looking at those fixtures if you're serious and getting at least at least 10 out of 12 points across those 4 games. If you're really serious about getting top 4, Spurs have ended up with 5 out of 12 points. 5 out of 12 points. You 3-1 up to Southampton, you didn't win. 1-0 up against a 10-man Everton, you didn't win. 1-0 up at home against Bournemouth, you didn't win. You brought the game to 2-2 and you go on to lose? Nah, man. And to be honest, I'm even lucky. I'm lucky it's not worse, because it should have been 2 straight losses. We should have lost to Brighton the week before. We caught life and we didn't learn our lesson. You didn't learn your lesson. Yeah, God gave you a blind, and you said, you know what? Let's be even more shit this week and see see where it gets us. And we got what we deserved, man. We got what we deserved. And now you're looking at the fixtures and you're thinking to yourself, rah, like Spurs genuinely could drop down to 7th or 8th. You got Newcastle this Sunday. You then got Man United at home. Then you play Liverpool at Anfield. Then after that, I think we got Crystal Palace. I think we got Palace at home, who have all of a sudden started picking up form. And then you play Aston Villa away. So can anyone give me how many points are Spurs going to get from those fixtures? How many points?
You're not getting top 4 in my opinion. I agree with you.
No, they're not.
I've been saying it for a long time.
Top 4 was done since January. I told you lot, and you were telling me, no, you don't give up yet. Top 4's been done since January.
You did say it, but you was in a good position when you were saying it. So I was like,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can see the trajectory of the team. We've been badly coached, and on top of that, we've had players who have been outright diabolical this season. Diabolical. Richarlison, bro, the guy has absolutely disgraced me. Absolute bum.
He's the real.
Remember when we had a conversation about Richarlison? Do you remember that?
His name's Richard,
no? I do remember that.
No, do you? Do you remember that? Only because you looked at me like I had 2 heads that day.
Richard, yeah.
Richard, man, Richard.
Richarlison.
Listen, I'll take my beatings and my licks when it comes to Richarlison. Unfortunately, he's let me down, so I can't defend the indefensible anymore. Like, it's up if he wants to bring his reputation back, he's got to do that himself. I'm not defending a man I'm no longer defending a man who has scored 0 Premier League goals in 10 months. It's enough now.
He's a meaty player. He's a meaty player who has 5-star skill moves. I tried telling you this.
You can rip him all you want.
Little head things.
I'm done, man. I'm done.
No, I'm not ripping him. I'm just trying to reaffirm that we're on the same page now, which is.
I don't even think he has 5-star skill moves, brother. To be honest,
he doesn't have 5-star skill moves.
It's pretty much. It's probably 3 to 4 star with the dolphin thing.
It's not even him as well. Pedro Porro. He had an app. He was the worst player on the pitch on Saturday.
Man, he got cooked.
He got
cooked.
Hey, João Felix is getting the last laugh there. I mean, to be fair, he's not because he's 11th, but you get what I mean. Like he's just surpassed them in so many ways. I feel like João Felix can get the W there. Fair play.
And it's not even just him as well. Højbjerg as well. Bruv, he just get rid of him, man. Honestly, I've all my favorites letting me down. Just get rid, man. The guy he's just awful. He's absolutely awful. Just pointing his fingers all over the pitch and pointing your fingers where the passes should be going, and they're not going anywhere. It's just awful. Get rid of him. What more can I say? There's so many poor. Even Harry Kane was dog shit on the weekend as well. Kane was bad. Kulusevski has been pants for months. Just so many players in our team are either out of form, or not good enough, or are just not being utilized well enough. And it's just, I'm just bored.
It sums up the season, though. When you think about Richarlison,
I just want the season over. I want it done.
No, but you know that chant, Richarlison, Spurs win the game, and then obviously they go on the other end, and then bang, they score. It sums up.
Literally, you've hit the nail on the head. If you wanted the best view of Spurs, just go watch that game. Like even the goals we conceded as well, ridiculous howlers. I think Spurs lead the charts for most errors leading to goals this season, and it shows when we play. We're such a bad team defensively, and going forward, we're coached so poorly. I mean, Davinson Sanchez, like, bless him, he got vilified every single touch. He got vilified. But in the end of the day, the guy is shocking. He's bad, and he had no business being on the football pitch. But yet, Pumpkinhead Stellini decides that he's going to throw him on. He's going to throw him on instead of switching the formation, only to then see him cost Spurs, to then take him off and switch the team to the formation you should have switched to in the first place. It's just, I don't want to say I felt sorry for Davinson Sanchez because, in all honesty, I didn't. But at the same time, I didn't like the fact that he was scapegoated. I felt like he was vilified when he wasn't even though he was one of the worst performers, he wasn't even the worst performer. There were at least 2 players that were worse than Davinson Sanchez on the day. They didn't get booed, they didn't get heckled, they didn't get anything. So for me, I felt like people were adding a little bit too much dip on the chip with Davinson Sanchez. But the team's busted, man. Just get me on holiday, man. Get me to New York, get me to Morocco, get me to Budapest. Just end the season.
Like, how many holidays you going on?
Where you going,
Wow, you're living a good life, man.
Nah,
You going on a tour or something?
You got Europa League final. You know the Europa League final. What's going on?
Live life, brothers. Live life. Yeah, don't let life continue. Live it. Don't let it continue.
But you know, European football helps your club more than it doesn't, right? Like
Mate, F them. Honestly, F those mother effers, man. Please, genuinely. If there's one good thing, to come out of Spurs failing to meet their targets this season, it's the fact that their precious Champions League and their precious Champions League money gets taken away from them. Learn your lessons, you absolute dossers. Learn your lessons. You've put us into this position. You hired Conte's dead number 2. Remember in January? Remember when we were talking on the Big Six? And I was telling you, man, I don't rate this guy. I don't think he's good.
But we were trolling you, man. We were trolling you.
Not you, but everyone said, "Oh, it's different." It's not different. He's doing the exact same thing Conte is doing, but because he's not shouting at man on the touchline, "Oh wow, hire him, Stellini ball." Well, you're looking at.
We was just trolling. I don't know who this guy is.
I'm not just talking about you. I'm talking about the general perception that he was having.
Yeah.
This guy was having some transformative effect on Spurs. He's literally doing. Conte's here. He's here. He's looking at Conte's homework, copying it, but writing it in better handwriting. And it's not even better handwriting. It's worse handwriting. It's worse. Yeah. Conte at his worst is probably not losing to Bournemouth. And Conte needed to go, but it's just incompetent. When I actually how stupid this is.
My man's laughing. Toby's going crazy. Toby's going crazy, boys. Guys, this is where it gets bad, you know. We actually need to be there.
You're crying. I'm actually sad.
No, I'm being quite serious right now. No,
intervention is nedeed now.
Toby, you're actually going to be in my players, you know, lads. Honestly, like, I'm sorry that you're going through this.
Honestly, guys, genuinely, deep how stupid this is, yeah. So you think Conte is not good enough. You think the way he's setting up the team is not good enough. So what do? You sack him and you put in his number 2, who's going to play the exact same way as him. Like,
and it's still better than Rampant.
What kind of serious institution does this? They're not serious. They're not serious, which is why when Conte got sacked and I saw the alternative, I already knew Spurs weren't getting top 4, but that was the nail in the coffin. Buried us dead with that one. Buried us alive with that one. That was it. Finished.
What's the managerial situation looking like now? I don't keep up with it. Who's favourites? Who do you want? Where's your head at with that one?
Apparently, Matt Law was saying that we made contact with Luis Enrique today, who has also been contacted by Chelsea. But I don't want Luis Enrique. I mean, if he came, I'll get behind him. But I don't want Luis Enrique. Again, not because he's not good enough, but I just don't think he's a good fit for Spurs. I don't. I think the type of manager he is, I think he's a better fit for Chelsea. He's a better fit for Chelsea. He's not the best possible fit at Spurs. And I've explained my reasons behind that already here. I don't know. Apparently, Nagelsmann turned down Spurs last week. I'm hearing Company is now one of the favourites to get the job. I don't know, man. All I know is that there are a pool of good managers or up-and-coming managers that are gettable. And we just need these absolute bozos to make a sensible decision here.
Would you be chatting like a Thomas Frank or something along those lines?
No, I wouldn't mind the Thomas Frank, but now that I'm deep in it as well, I was talking to my friends about this. I don't think I like the way Burnley play football. I'm not going to lie to you.
Brentford.
I've said this on the Big Six before. I don't actually think they play that good football. Like, what I like about Thomas Frank is his ability to get the best out of the players he's been given, right?
And isn't that what you need?
It is what we need, but we also need
because you're talking about playing good football, but the thing is, you're not even bridging the gap between results.
It's not just good football. I'm playing. It's about playing progressive football. football that can actually get Spurs winning games. And I feel like Thomas Frank, the football he plays at Brentford is a bit reminiscent to some of the football he played under Jose Mourinho. It is. So I don't think he's a bad name. I'm open to Thomas Frank, but I would much rather someone like De Zerbi, Nagelsmann, even at Amarin. I feel like his teams are, even though he's still a bit pragmatic. His teams play out of the back more than someone like a Thomas Frank, for instance. So I don't know, man. I don't know. There's names out there. Even Company, I don't think he's ready.
I choose Will still over Company. Company's still unknown. I feel like Will still is more.
Burnley are trying to get Company in a new contract right now. They've opened up talks for a new contract.
Yeah, he needs to.
Fair to you.
He needs to stay where he is, man. I'd be so disappointed in him if he went to Tottenham. I'd be so disappointed. I think he just set himself
development. He should stay. You're right. I think for his own development, he shouldn't take the Spurs job, because I personally feel like the Spurs job is a bit too much for Company right now. Like, get to the Premier League, see how you can fare in the Premier League. However, I can't pretend as if I've not been possibly excited by the prospect of a recent Premier League winner ripping chunks out of the shit players we have in our team. I've seen some of the clips circulating around Vincent Kompany when the way he's shouting at some of his players at Anderlecht and at Burnley, bro. I would love him to tear into the likes of Sanchez, Dyer, just rip the dross out of this team and get rid of him. Tell certain man you're not good enough. That's paramount for me, you know. Not just progressive football, not just working with young players. Getting a manager that can actually say to Levy, say to
Conte did that. Conte did do that.
Didn't Jose Mourinho do that as well?
Conte did that.
Yeah, Conte
Jose
did
Mourinho
that.
did. He literally told players to the face of shit.
Conte didn't take a lot of the other boxes this season.
Do you remember when Jose Mourinho had that chat with Danny Rose? Remember? Do you remember when Jose Mourinho had that chat with Danny Rose and Dele Alli? Jose Mourinho was straight up, you just never saw it besides the documentary, whereas you're not even going to see it with Vincent Kompany. Okay, he'll do it on the pitch.
Yeah, but
everyone's shouting at each other on the pitch. You've got HUGH to shout at players on the pitch. I don't think it makes too much of a difference if you get someone who's vocalised.
Jose Mourinho, I feel like he sort of accepted what the board gave him and threw at him. I don't think Conte did as much as Jose did. But either way, I just want someone who will just change the status quo at the club and just rip out the players that just aren't good enough. I'm tired of seeing the same shit over and over again. I'm tired of seeing the same faces that are just not elevating this club. I'm tired of seeing good players mismanaged. And I'm tired of seeing players that used to be good clinging on to former glory. Like, we need to change.
Cool. Super chats have come in. HW says, I haven't forgot the Kulu is better than Saka shouts. I was a part of that at the beginning of the season, but times changed.
You agree though? So it's
I did agree at the beginning of the season, but obviously times have changed. Tobes, what do you think now? Because you thought it at the beginning of the season too. I haven't heard you turn around and say
I plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth. Cool. Imagine Haaland wins the treble and breaking the Premier League record and possibly Champs record and European Golden Boot with about 62 goals. Most goals assists in Europe. Bro has to win it. Shark settings, one game at a time. FC, Stones and Diaz are world class. Robot got the latest update. De Bruyne, the greatest midfielder, the greatest Premier League midfielder. Champions League, inshallah. Martin says they used to troll Arteta for 8th place. Now Liverpool, Chelsea, and Spurs fans are begging for it. And Spurs, Martin.
Yeah, I didn't get it either, Matisse. It's all right. They've done it 2 years in a row. Let's just move on.
Okay. Hey, James, you was on my side a couple minutes
ago.
Spurs Marco says, thank you, Tobes. Calling it what it is, an absolute shower of shit. The club is toxic right now. Big up the show, lads, and let this season end now.
We want Enoch out. Say we want Enoch out. We want Enoch out. Say we want Enoch out.
Get protesting.
Remind him how good Enoch is. Remind him how good Levy and Enoch are.
Levy's all right, though, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Because he's making that shmoney.
He's part of Enoch. Get him out of here.
Commercialization.
What do you mean he's part of Enoch, though? What is Enoch? I don't get all this. Is Enoch a guy? Is it a company? What is it?
Company. Yeah, get rid of him. Get rid of him. Honestly, get rid of him.
Cool. Let's keep it moving, people. Where are we? We're an hour 15 minutes in, 6.2k in the building. We've done Arsenal, we've done City, we've just touched in on Tottenham. I do want to say, obviously, as you can see, well, you can't see on the screen right now, a big up Factor 75 for sponsoring the show. If you're from the US, you can use Factor 75. If you're not, then now's probably a time to grab something to eat quickly or get a quick drink, because this is for the US supporters of the show. Big up Factor 75 if you don't know what they're about.
Yes, people, let's take a little break to big up the sponsors, and this one's for my people in the US. If you don't know about Factor, then get to know. Factor provide fresh, ready-made meals delivered to your doorstep. And by fresh, I mean fresh, never frozen, and designed by dietitians to ensure every meal is packed with premium, science-backed nutritional quality. No more meal prep, no more dishes, no more unhealthy fast food. Factor offers the most convenient way to eat well whilst eating right. The menus are updated weekly, or you can let Factor craft your order based on your taste. It's convenient and it offers flexibility. There's something for everyone, people. Use the link in my description or use the code Factor SE32690 for 50% off your first box.
There you go, people. Link in the description. There's a link in the live chat as well. Enjoy 50% off your first order and 20% off the next 4 boxes with that discount code Factor SE32690. Or if you just click the link in the description, it'll take you straight there. Apply the discount. And yeah, I think it's time for Chelsea now, Matisse.
What do you want me to say? I mean, it's the same shit every single week. I say the same things every week. There's nothing more to say. This team are shit. It's one of the worst coached teams in the league. Bottom 3 coached teams in the league. We split open at home. Brighton absolutely tore us to shreds. They should have beat us 5-1. You know, it should have been an emphatic battering. The only reason why it wasn't is because, you know, they just didn't take all their chances. Metronome had a great chance he didn't take after skipping past 2-3 people. We just need the season to end. You know, we tried to press their little box build up with the 2 centre backs and the 2 players in the midfield, Caicedo and Gross. That didn't work because they just bypassed it completely and went to the wingers. And instead, they're so confident, Brighton, on the ball. They're so confident on the ball. They're so good at controlling games. Pep even said it. He said De Zerbi was one of the best build up. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what I can't see.
We need to bring that up.
Yeah, he's just trying to I don't think we do. I feel like we all knew that Frank Lampard was just easy, man.
What you were saying about you being the badly coached.
Well, you know, Roy Hodgson's got 3 wins in a row at Palace. You know what I mean? He's only just come in the job, and people were skeptical about that appointment. But the thing is with us, it's that the thing is. You're not really sounding wrong, are you?
Yeah, you don't remember Matisse when you used to like call out Ragnick, and he used to call Ragnick and Gegenpress. Like, what's your Frank Lampard, your legend? He's meant to be proper Chelsea. How can he not get it right?
Proper Chelsea.
He's proper Chelsea.
SAEED is funny. Isn't SAEED funny?
That's how he coaches on the pitch.
Sorry to cut you off, Matisse. Go on.
No, sorry, Matisse. What was you saying? Because you were actually talking some proper ball knowledge there, son.
Yeah, we cannot compete, guys. You know, Brighton are a much better team. But Pep's already said it. De Zerbi's his build up this season for Brighton's been some of the best stuff in Europe. And sometimes when Pep speaks, you have to take it with a pinch of salt because he's taking the piss out of some people. But he's actually being very serious with that Brighton team. So look out, Man United on Sunday on the FA Cup semi-final. But yeah, listen, he shouldn't be in the job. He needs to go and do his pro license. He needs to go and actually be an assistant or one of the assistants to a top manager and learn some more stuff. Maybe go to Championship again. But he's not cut out for. I mean, listen, he feels he hasn't had the time on the training pitch because we've been having the Real Madrid clash and loads of games midweek since he's come in. He hasn't had a full week with the team, but he hasn't done much training, he says, or much tactics. It's all been individual conversations, but listen, he's not going to be hired permanently, so we just have to rough it out. We're probably only going to win maybe max one more game this season, if that. And then we finish in 11th, 12th, whatever it is, and we move 13th. It is what it is. It's done. The season's finished. I just need to. I need
wild thing. If you look at Chelsea's fixtures, there's no guaranteed wins there. There's no game you'd say Chelsea are going to win that game. There's genuine possibility Chelsea don't win another game this season.
Yeah, there's 100%. From the moment we didn't beat Southampton at home against their caretaker, and then Southampton lost to Grimsby, I knew that we're finished. You know, if you can't beat Southampton at home, the worst team in the league, well, who can you beat? So, what is it? Most of the teams we play are above us.
Best team. Yeah, it's mad.
No, Bournemouth are putting up a fight in all their games. We play them at home. The easiest game, is Nottingham Forest at home. That's where I'm looking for 3 points. But like I said it 2 months.
The battle of the 30 players
ages away. It's in May. Huh? No, I think not Forest at home. Forest. Listen, I said it 2 months ago. I just need my 40 points and I'm done. I said it, and people laughed because they thought I was being melodramatic. I'm being serious, and now you understand how serious I am, because we're still on 39 points, and no one can tell me where the points coming from, because most people here, apart from me and Toes, predicted a result against Brighton. Why? Look at the way Brighton are playing. Look at the players that they have. Look at Caicedo. Look at McAllister. Look at Dunk. Look at all these guys need their respect. I keep saying it. When people are saying, "Oh, you're gonna have to move up the table above these teams," look at Aston Villa. They've gone 5 wins in a row. Finished. Team's finished. Absolutely.
But also look at Todd Bowley. Todd Bowley needs question as well.
100%.
Aston Villa got Unai Emery, and they were 16th. They've climbed up, I don't know how many positions, and now they're 11 points.
Were they 16th when he took over?
I'm not going to lie. It's not helped Steven Gerrard's point of view, because honestly, like,
that's what I'm saying. Steven Gerrard, man, listen, he's finished anyway, man. You know what I mean?
Same with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, innit?
The context of
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did well better than Steven Gerrard, though.
Hey, Steven Gerrard won a league in Scotland, mate. What does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer do?
Oh, okay, Scotland. Okay.
Yeah, Scotland.
Anyway,
first time.
He won in Mulder. Mulder and Scotland the same, man. It's the same. Mulder and Scotland same, man.
But Mulder were probably already winning league titles before that. Celtic won the league like 9 years in a row. You can't even talk.
One's a country.
How can he say one club is the same as a country?
One is a club and one's a country, my friend. Anyway,
listen. Anyway, listen.
This is Saeed's
it's not all on
level show.
Can I just finish my point, Matisse? It's all right. I just want to say, like, it just shows you the indictment on Chelsea and how bad they are. You know, they sacked their manager early on. This is what I'm saying about Todd Bowley and his man management and the way he's kind of gone about things at Chelsea. He should have sacked him a little bit sooner, and maybe Chelsea could have got a manager soon enough and climbed up the ladder, because Aston Villa showed it. So why that more needs to be done about Todd Bowley, and I don't know if the Chelsea fan base are willing to have that conversation. I don't know.
Wait, are we being deadly serious? Are we basing this off decision making or resources? Because I feel like he's
in terms of
decision making.
He's learning on the job.
He's a weird guy.
He's learning on the job.
Weird guys end up finding a way. Come on.
He's got a lot to learn. Like, you know, when the press come to you and they tell you, you know, what do you think is going to happen against Madrid? I obviously didn't really give a shit about the quote because I'm finished at this point. But obviously that whole 3-0 prediction went a bit left. But listen, at the end of the day, you can trace his mistakes all the way back to the start. But as James said, he's learning on the job. He has come in almost like a kid on a PlayStation, and he's done everything that every fan would want him to do. So I'd be a hypocrite to then say, "Oh, why did you get rid of Marino?" when a lot of people were complaining about Marino. Why did you sack one of the scouts when the scouting was shit? Why did you bring in all these young talented players when everybody was gassed when these players came in? At the end of the day, it's about learning from your mistakes now when you move forward and you know, releasing the reins a little bit and actually allowing the people you've hired to run the club. I don't want to see him bursting into into dressing rooms after fixtures and you know, having big hour-long meetings with players. Like as
it was when he started getting advice from James Corden for me. That was the bit where I was a bit like, I'm not too sure, you know what I mean? Yeah. Didn't he just get swerved off his American TV show?
That's obviously not true, but I hear it.
Are you sure about that, Matisse?
Yeah, the tabloids
just said that he's doing FIFA career mode, so I wouldn't put it out.
The tabloids are getting their clicks at the moment. I just need him to understand now that you've hired a lot of people in positions to run certain things, technical director, sporting director. Now it's time to step back, let those people do their job, and you focus on the sponsors and focus on, you know, who's going to be on the sleeve and whatnot. Because you can't.
Because I look at him and I just see him with the paparazzi. Yeah, man, we're gonna win 3-0, man. Like, I don't know, man. I just look at him and I just think he's just got decision making, and just the way he is. I feel like it's gonna be more of this situation happening. I just think for me, like, it's gonna take a while before he learns his lesson. He's not a quick learner, this guy. I mean, he just looks a bit like, you know,
it's a balancing act, isn't it? He's new to the sport. A lot of people complain about their owners. They don't get any transparency. They don't get any connection. They don't seem to talk about the club, care about the club, watch the club, stay in America. So he does the complete polar opposite in being at all the games and going to all the training sessions and being at the stadium and talking to the press and talking. So being in the Twitter spaces, he just needs to find the balance. And this is why when you ask me what we're going to do about him, I'm not going to do anything because he's only just come through the door. He needs to learn.
No, that's fair.
So, you know, at the end of the day, he just needs to find a balance. But right now, he's taking a lot of L's, man. It's embarrassing.
He's a rich, clueless person, though. That's the difference. I don't think you should quite care.
What he's doing, and I think it's only until like he put in like people in place that you could actually see like a bit of a strategy with Chelsea's signings in the January, where you started signing the young players and trying to build Chelsea 2.0 in 2-3 years' time. But like, I still look at your team and there's a huge imbalance. There's still a huge imbalance. Like you still don't have players that can put the ball in the back of the net. You still don't have the midfield combination that you're looking for, right? You went heavy on players who have been severe busts like Cucurella, and then you got the guy coming out saying, "Oh, we're gonna beat Real Madrid 3-0," and I'm reading articles that he was on his coach Carter, and tried to have like a motivational pep talk, but ended up digging out one of the plays and stuff. And I'm just thinking, what are you doing, man?
That's the stuff I give a shit about. I don't really care about predictions, but that's
what we're saying. So it all adds up on top of the fact that he sacked the best manager you had based on this season.
That is not what Hughes was saying, though. Oh, and I love how the narrative changed when you want to learn with the
Toby's the only one that had an inch of respect for the. But James, you're spot on. James, you're spot on. You're spot on.
Nah, I was the same with Thomas Tuchel. I agree. I'm actually happy to hear that you.
Two things can be right, James. Two things can be right.
Saeed, have you heard what you've just said? Can you just reevaluate the thing that you've just said?
Two things can be right, though. Yeah.
Go on, then. So in this example, how is that true?
It's stagnated, Tuchel. And I think they needed a change. At that time, for me, I'm with Todd Ball. If he thinks for me, he needed a change at that point, and he wanted to change his man. It's just for me, go and get a better manager than Tuchel. That's where I kind of
Solskjaer stayed at United for 3 years, and I don't know what
the point
is.
Was it good enough?
He stayed for 3 years, and Thomas Tuchel won a Champions League, and we stayed for 2. So I don't know.
I understand that, but still, there was
Chelsea. Hold on,
the Chelsea fan base.
Let me give you some context. Let me give you. I don't care what the fan base was doing, because the fact that we're in this mess is because he's been trying to appease the fan base a bit too much and just completely almost just pandering to every single one and question and need. The point is the context, right? Thomas Tuchel is a better manager than Potter and then Lampard. This is a downward spiral. If you're saying sack someone, you need to have a replacement lined up, but you're not qualified to appoint someone because you're only in your first few months in the sport. So what you do in hindsight, and which everybody would love, is you go and get a director first, and they appoint the manager for you based on what you would like to see the club vision-wise, culture-wise. What you don't do is you sack that person prematurely with no notion of who to go and get based on, some Brighton, little bits of things that you like at Red Bull, little things you like at Brighton, not knowing now in hindsight, you've taken shit out of Brighton. That doesn't really matter because they're still rolling on. In fact, they've improved. So it's just about not ripping up the entire foundation immediately and actually just taking your time with it. That's all it is. It's not to say that Tuchel's perfect and Tuchel, couldn't be touched or anything like that. But if you are going to get rid of Tuchel, you better make sure that you're actually really, really getting the next person in that makes sense and not just going for some hearsay because, you've only just come through the door and suddenly you know all about Brighton. Where'd you get all this knowledge on Brighton when you just come in the country 3 months ago? So for me, that's what annoys me, is the fact that we've only gone backwards in terms of the manager's abilities constantly. When you look, we've gone full circle. We've gone from Lampard to Tuchel back to Lampard. So, but it is what it is. It's done.
What? One super chat on the subject, just waffling, says, Matisse, speak on this story about Bowley and the board going into the changing room situation, telling the players about 4-4-3 again.
for me, I don't care anymore. The season's finished.
Play the 4-4-3, man.
At the end of the day, I don't agree with him going into the change room because I feel like that's undermining the manager, and that just goes to show that Lampard as an interim hasn't got the kahunas to handle that dressing room. Maybe, I don't know, but you shouldn't have to. Kahunas, yeah. You shouldn't have to go in the dressing room as an owner. Kahunas. I don't give a fuck. It's 12:05. You shouldn't have to go into the dressing room as an owner. You know, there's companies, businesses, you know, infrastructures. You don't see the CEO go into, you know, any just random joint in the McDonald's chain and going and, you know, cussing off the staff for not flipping the burgers properly. There's meant to be some sort of chain here, and he's just going straight into the dressing room as an owner. It's a little bit off the cuff for me. It's a little bit.
He's rich. He can do what he wants. When you spent $1 billion in the town, he can do whatever he wants. Come on,
he can. But is it actually going to work? You know, we got
probably not.
Pep talking about
it's undermining the manager. It's undermining the manager.
Well, luckily Frank's not. Luckily Frank's not actually the manager.
He's coming from. I don't know. I don't know what his background is, but American sports, the owners are a lot more involved in terms of being of the franchises, and that's probably what he's seen or used to or been around. Going into the change room and thinking you're the top. Well, you are the top dog because you're on the fucking club, but in terms of who the players want to hear from, they don't really want to be here.
I think regardless of who the manager is, when you sign that many players and you have this size of squad, you're going to struggle. And that's why I always said top four ain't happening, really, once Toby started saying the quality's there, the expectation's there. But unfortunately, when you have that many players, it's going to go left. And that's exactly what's happened. And there's just been a confusion in terms of what direction to go in, who to use, who to leave out. And in the end, we've not ended up committing to anything. We've not committed towards the young players. We've not committed to the players in their prime and results. We've just done a bit of both and got nothing in return. So once the squad's trimmed, I think that's the most important. Sell as many players as possible, have a little bit of a yard sell, and get some stability, get a top manager, and then we'll go from there.
Can I ask a question? One, where does the season rank in terms of like some of the worst seasons we've seen from clubs who are supposedly meant to do something monumental this season? Where does this season rank for Chelsea? And two, which players do you feel, or better yet, let me narrow it down because you don't got like a zillion players. Which attackers do you feel the new manager, whoever he is, will want to keep at Chelsea? And that includes the likes of Nkunku coming in.
I think it is the worst because we're 11th. We're literally not even on 40 points mid-April. I said a statistic earlier that Turkish will like to bring his spirits up. If Arsenal win against Southampton, they will be 40 points clear before we hit 40 points. 40 points clear of us. That is like, honestly, it's flab. I don't give a shit what's happened. Sanctions, takeover. I don't give a fuck. You cannot be 40 points off the top at any point so that's just insane. And that's damning. So for me, it's the worst in terms of any top team and expectations. That's the worst season I've seen. Second question on attackers, I'd say it depends on the manager, isn't it? If it's Nagelsmann, if it's Enrique, they have different ways of doing things in terms of positional play versus Gegenpress, and wingers maybe not using as many wingers with a two-striker system. I don't know. So, but if it's Enrique, I don't know, man. I think that's why I actually preference Enrique a little bit more to Nagelsmann, because then I know Lukaku's not coming back. Whereas if Nagelsmann comes, he might use Lukaku, and that scares the shit out of me. But I think
he's not taking back now. He's in good form.
He hasn't scored an open play goal since August, is it, or October? I don't know. No, I wouldn't take him. I'd sooner jump out my window, to be honest. Like, honestly, I have no time for Lukaku.
Don't do that.
I have no time for Lukaku whatsoever. I'm not budging on this. I'm not flip-flopping on this. I have no time for Lukaku. There's certain players, I'm sure, in all of your club's history, you just have no time for. And this is a player on my list. Couldn't give a shit what he does goal scoring wise. I don't care. Don't want him in the squad next season. Simple as that. Don't care.
Please, man.
And whatever manager,
HUGH, that's who.
Yeah, whatever manager wouldn't use him. I like that guy.
Was our Juve, man?
He was crazy, that Juve.
Yeah, he was crazy. When he was a mad bastard. He was from
Senegal
entertaining.
As well, lad. He was entertaining though. He was good.
He was box office footy.
Listen, with Chelsea, you kind of just have to put it down, I suppose, as a learning season. Just a season where Bodie's getting his foot into English football, understanding the culture and that thing. Like, with the money he has and the money he's going to throw at the situation, you'd have to think they'll eventually get it right. He'll appoint someone with the money, he'll give the correct money to someone, and it'll eventually work. It can't not. They must, as we say, it must at some stage.
I think what they need to do, I agree with you. Get Enrique, Nagelsmann. I think both of them are great shouts. They've got pros, cons both ways. I've said before Poch, but that's not going to work with the fan base. And then actually spend less money. Don't buy too many players in the summer. Sell. Just sell. You know, if you told me that we're going to sell 15 players that the new manager doesn't want, I'd be delighted. That would be like signing players to me. I can't wait for some of these players to leave. I will throw a party. I swear.
That's wild. That's so mad.
All right, cool. Let's keep it moving because I'm weary of time as well, and it has passed midnight here. But SAEED, on to you next. Not necessarily the result because it was a good result considering the injuries, but Glazers holding on.
This guy.
Glazers, the guys, mate.
Listen,
Hey,
man.
what happened to those protests, by the way?
The protests, they're on hold, innit? Obviously, we're waiting.
Some football, some good football.
Situation,
short-term memories. Your fan base is so huge to it. This was
and nobody wanted to buy you. How about that? Nobody wanted to buy you. You know that.
You haven't got bought. You haven't got bought. It's like choosing over the dad didn't pick. You know what I mean?
What situation are you, my brother, are you in?
What do you mean? What situation am I in?
Let's move on.
I've won a Premier League more recently than you. We won 2 trophies, which you're aspiring for this season. I feel
Okay,
like
so you're going back to history
okay.
now again. So you're claiming that we're history.
Saeed, what are you even doing in the present?
Listen, I'm talking about right now, the context, and you're talking about the ownership. Are you going back?
No, Saeed.
Saeed,
You're getting beat 7-0 in our worst ever season. That was only a couple of weeks ago.
Lockdown, man. You won a trophy.
Yeah, and
lockdown,
what?
nobody knew.
Yeah, okay, so we won a Premier League and you didn't know yet. You've just mentioned it.
Nobody
I feel like
knew,
that was a
nobody
contradiction
knew,
in itself.
Nobody knew.
But you've just
You
mentioned
celebrated. Did you go out and celebrate with them? Oh, no, you didn't.
Illegally, yes, but yeah. Wait, what? Sorry, my mic cut out there. Are you onto this chatty GTP? I never said that. No, I never said that. Chatty GPT can make all this stuff up. You know what I mean? Let's not talk.
But you know what, Lecken? It's all just, it's speculation. The deadline is next week.
Saeed, you're not getting bought, all right? You're just irrelevant as us. You're just trying to claim, people were interested. The families didn't want you, all right? You're staying in the home and it's fine.
No, they just want more money in it. When there's a big club like Man United, man, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? There's big money involved.
Do you really believe that?
That's why they're going to stay.
When you're Man United, things take time. It doesn't happen like 1 week and then next week,
Do you know what else generates a lot of money?
You know what I mean? We don't miss out on bids. We don't miss out on bids and go spend 84 million on Jude Bellingham. We don't do that sort of stuff. You know, fail on bids. You know what I mean? We don't do that. We don't do that, my brother. So when you have some money, then we can talk, innit, my brother? Yeah?
No, Saeed, can I say something? Do you know Saeed, can I just say one thing?
I didn't want to go there, but you're poking at me, so I have to come out.
I'm not poking at you. You're just getting easily rattled. I'm just having a conversation.
You're poking. You're trying to say that with this.
No, I'm having a civil football discussion.
Like I said, yeah.
We're trying to find some common ground. Like, say, can I make a point? Just one.
Okay, go on.
Just 1 point. So I was just going to raise the fact that, you mentioned about getting bought and stuff like this. Do you know when you've got billions and billions and billions of Manchester United fans and then you've got these YouTuber fans on the forefront like, oh, we really want these people. Guess what? Great job, great work. Guess what? It stopped when you won a League Cup and you went on a couple of wins. You're now third. You're still 15 points behind first. And, oh, yes, Manchester United are back. But it's still irrelevant to the point, though, Saeed. The point is, we're talking about you guys. We're not talking about Liverpool. I feel like we've got to move on to that point.
We're still having a better season than you, and ultimately...
And we still beat you 7-0. It doesn't matter. That's not the conversation.
Yeah, that was your trophy. That was the only trophy.
What my point is, we're not talking about... It's not my team versus your team. Fine, you're above us.
That 7-0 trophy. Is that 7-0 trophy next year?
For sure. For sure. Oh, for sure. Because that's actually better than your League Cup, by the way. That'll be more remembered than the League Cup that you won. It will. Who's going to remember you beating Newcastle? No, Saeed, who's going to remember you beating Newcastle? But the point is that the Glazers will still generate the money from...
You were celebrating the last season with the FA Cup.
The Glazers...
You had a parade outside the stadium.
The Glazers... I know I did.
You had a parade, mate.
You had a parade. Still bigger than anyone that you'll generate. Right, Saeed, the Glazers...
You had a parade, mate.
One sec.
You had a parade.
Saeed, I know we did, and it was Boss. I had a great time. You should have been there, boss. Anyway, do you know the Glazers? The Glazers are one of those where they're going to generate billions upon billions from your fan base, because your fan base are like our fan base. You're just like, yes, sir. We're going to keep coming to the games because we appease to these owners. You don't actually recognise that you are just being. It happens on many degrees in life. I won't go too far into it because it's not the show for it, right? But in terms of a bunch of people getting thought out of, and it's happening to you right now, you aren't going to get bored. This is Jude Bellingham. Do you remember what we done with Jude Bellingham? All the hoopla about Jude Bellingham. This is Jude Bellingham. All the I feel Qatari.
Listen, man,
guess what? You feel
PTSD.
fucking American.
You know what I mean? We don't have Liverpool PTSD. We know what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? We know what we're doing. We know that. We know there's a situation.
I don't think you do, because you don't.
Saeed, do you actually believe what you're saying, or are you just saying it?
No, of course it doesn't. He just finds them words.
Saeed, do you actually believe what you're saying, or are you just saying it to comfort yourself? Because
I'm not comforting myself.
I don't really see where.
Sorry?
I don't really see why you're so confident that you're going to be bought.
By the way, I didn't say I was confident. I didn't say anything. I said the deadline is on the 29th. Let's see what happens.
No, we just started talking about Jude Bellingham.
But no, because obviously you're trying to say, you know.
No, I was having an honest conversation. You got rattled.
You know what's going on.
Okay. Yes, sir.
But anyway, we had a result. We had a result this weekend. I know Turkish is, you know what I mean, trying to get a little 2 pence in, but we had a result this weekend, and we should have battered Nottingham Forest more goals. You know what I mean? Navas, obviously, I don't know if you guys know, but there was a fax machine that broke, and you know what I mean. He decided to choose violence, innit? You know what I mean? He was absolutely unbelievable. Bruno Fernandes was amazing. Anthony, I don't know if we'll get some Anthony praise today. Maybe not, but he was excellent. I thought he was absolutely
He was boss.
Yep.
I thought he was good in the Sevilla game as well. I thought he was one of the standouts in that game. I think he's been one of the better performers, and no one's talking about it. I'll give you that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said, I just think for those, it's just not being clinical enough. Like Liverpool today won 6-1. I generally think Man United go to that game, it's a 2-0 win. You know what I mean? That's the difference for me. United just not clinical enough. And ultimately, I'm confident still of top 4. I think we've bridged the gap now. I think 6 points ahead of Tottenham with a game in hand. So I think for me, I'm not saying top 4 done, but I'm more than confident about this top 4.
Done.
You know
It's
done. But now, listen, I'm confident where we're going. We've got a big week this week. Europa League and then the FA Cup semi-final. Massive week. It's make or break. You know what I mean? It's a season where, yes, Carabao Cup and top 4 for the first season. I think it's what most Man United fans expected. Like one trophy and get into the top 4, progress as a team under Ten Hag. But, you know what I mean? We want more, man. You want to progress in the competition. Brighton will be tough. Really, really tough. And I'm not confident about that. Europa League, Sevilla, I think we should get the job over the line. But other than that, man, I'm happy. Lindelof was excellent. Clean sheet for David De Gea as well. Again, I don't know why he's not in the team of the season category. You know what I mean?
Can I say?
Golden glove. You know what I mean? Right now. So I'm confident, man. A lot of injuries, but I'm not complaining, man. We're moving it. We have to keep going. You know what I mean? It's that mentality this season, man. Ten Hag just keep on going. But I'm happy, man. I'm happy. Good win.
Can I just say, we need to get Forest gone, man. We need to get Forest out of here, man. They were an apology of a football side against you guys, and I don't even want to take the credit away from. I don't even want to take the credit away from you, because I do think Man United were completely dominant and 2-0 massively flattered Nottingham Forest. I mean, it could have been 6-7-0, but the performance I saw from Nottingham Forest, the amount of space, honestly, I tweeted it at the time. They gave Bruno Fernandes and Eriksen so much space and time on the ball. Okay, get the ball, take it, dribble 10, 20 yards into the final third, cross it as many times as you like, shoot it as many times as you like. They put zero pressure on these guys. There was no midfield in the game. And that Awoniyi, man, listen, I hate to even dig out my fellow Nigerian brother, but
he's
number
9.
Pack of ASS. He is terrible.
Why was Emmanuel Dennis not getting on the
worse
pitch?
as well? He's even more worse.
Awoniyi is not great, lad. Trust me.
No, Martinez and Varane. You're in a relegation fight. You should be thinking, you know what? Let's try and get at these. Nothing. All he's doing is just trying to throw his weight around. No finesse, no sense on the ball. Just so chaotic, and it was bad.
It was an eyesore. It really
Just
was.
PMP'd himself all over the pitch with no quality. Like it's he actually embarrassed me on the weekend, man. That was
The thing is, they've got Emmanuel Dennis, they got Lingard. There's options.
Horrible.
I don't know. I watched the game as well.
We kept him quiet though. We kept what's his name? The right hand side. He's their danger man. We kept him quiet.
Williams. Or Johnson.
Oh, Brennan Johnson.
Brennan Johnson.
Yeah. You defended well.
You defended well. The only thing they had was to take the set pieces and lump it on top of De Gea. And once that didn't work, then they didn't really have anything else. But like I said, yeah, I agree with Tobes. Like them, Leeds, Southampton, you know, Jesus, you might have to just go back to the Championship, man, and just give us Burnley, give us some new teams, because it's been tough. But I think with Man United, the key is that Martial, he's so much better than Weghorst. It's actually sad. It's so and if this guy could stay fit. If this guy could stay fit, I actually understand why Man United fans don't give up. Like, you still need a new striker because you can't rely on this guy, but he is a very good footballer. The way that he links up the play, I watched him against Sevilla as well, the assist for Sabitzer, and then in this game as well, the link up play, he's so technically secure on the ball. He's so, and it's a shame that he comes into the team. Rashford's immediately he's injured, because I would have liked to have seen them play together again, because I think Sancho can be benched for Rashford, obviously, with Anthony playing like this and then Bruno as well. I think that's your strongest front line. But yeah, Martial, shout out to him, because he's proper, man. It's just the thing is with Martial, why I don't like getting too, and I see why Grizz has his reservations. Like, you have to stay fit. Availability is key. If you're not like, you can play all the nice stuff all you want 2, 3, 4 times a season, but if you don't stay fit, no one can depend on you, and you're not. That doesn't make you good enough to be a top footballer. You need to be playing. So it's a shame.
Absolutely. It's about availability. Like I said, we can lax lyricals about your footballing and what everybody knows. He's a brilliant footballer, but it's just not available enough, man. And that's just the problem with him. So we have to move on. Either way, Osimhen, Harry Kane, whoever it is next season, I still want a striker.
Stop mentioning him.
Yeah, you do need to stop mentioning him, because you ain't got no money.
It's getting ridiculous now. Stop.
Bro.
Yeah, you're a bit obsessed, mate. You're a bit obsessed.
So why can't I just say, like?
But why are you so obsessed? Is this like is this your favorite player now?
Favorite player? I think he's a top quality striker, man.
You really like quality striker. It's a top quality striker, Matisse. You need to recognise the real side of it.
Mate.
He is, but you don't have the money. You don't have the money currently. You just had Weghorst and Sabitzer on loan, and until you get a takeover.
Yeah, but because
what happened to Berbatov?
Right now, we've got ownership situation.
But that has to get done for the summer.
SAEED, I don't appreciate the way you just skipped over my question. Sorry, Matisse. Sorry to interrupt you. SAEED, don't skip over me question. What happened to Berbatov?
Berbatov retired, innit?
Berbatov, I don't remember. I swear he came back, didn't he? No, didn't he come back and rattle Messi in the World Cup?
He retired, and then I thought Berbatov was playing, and then he wasn't Berbatov, so we kind of
is the seats too far back, SAEED?
Yeah, he was just too far back. I'm in the East Stand level 2, so sometimes it's not the greatest of view. But we've skipped over that. We skipped over that. You know what I mean? That's gone now.
I appreciate you addressing it.
Yeah, sure.
This guy, man, this shush thing is actually mad. This shush thing is insane. I don't know how he does it, bro.
He wins an argument just by using it once. It's brilliant.
Yeah, literally.
It's his finisher move.
Yeah, but you know what? You won. I'm not gonna try and dampen your parade. Just you won.
Yeah, it was Forest though, man. It was Forest. Like we'll get into the Liverpool game.
Yeah, well, we definitely will.
It was a bet. When Newcastle and Tottenham both losing, it was a big win.
That was a key, man. Newcastle got humbled, and like I said, Brighton is still in there, but Villa as well, man. Listen, Villa are in there, so
I know you guys said you want Villa to win, but I don't know if you do, man, because
it was a good win for Man United, I must say, because other teams slipped up, and then especially when you look at when you look at how Sevilla ended as well, people started to think, you know what, there might be some cracks here. They've got a couple players out. But now I actually think Man United have a nice buffer to the point where they can, dare I say it, they can afford to lose 1 or 2 and they'll still be fine, man. And I feel like they still have to play the teams around them. They still have to play Brighton. They still have to play us. They still have to play Aston Villa.
Game for me, man.
So they can ice. They can actually, exactly. You can actually ice top 4 in the next. I would say in the next in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think Man United can ice the top 4 challenge if you get the right results.
Yeah. Also, just get knocked out of the quarterfinals.
I would love to see it.
Who said that?
Two cup competitions in 1 week.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, it ain't easy.
That Brighton
Oh
game
no, I
won't
was
be
talking
easy,
about
man.
when they qualify for the
Fire
Champions
right
League.
now, SAEED.
Europa League.
Sorry?
That Brighton game won't be easy, man. How do you feel about that one?
I don't know, man. I'm going on Sunday, innit? So yeah, I think for me it's gonna be a tough game. I think it'll be one of them games where experience, innit, like shithousery, Casemiro just wasting. We get an early goal, we waste time. I think it'll be that sort of game, man. I really do. If we play football and they play football, I think Brighton probably win the game.
I think the same Brighton that turned up at Stamford Bridge turns up in Wembley on Sunday. They'll beat you. They'll turn you over.
Yeah, and you know what? I wouldn't put it past.
What worries me with Brighton is they miss too many chances. Like, I get it. Man United,
yeah.
The thing is, Man United, annoyingly, they're in a good position now where they can wrap up top 4, but they've got big injuries. And it's just annoying me that, like, the teams beneath, well, in Spurs' case, we can't capitalize on that. Maybe Aston Villa could, maybe Brighton could. I don't know. But I feel like that FA Cup, Lindelof, Maguire,
big pitch.
The
way they keep the ball. Oof, boy.
Maguire's suspended.
Wait, so who's going to play? Luke Shaw. No,
Phil Jones. Phil Jones.
Nah, Phil Jones. He's not even registered, bro. He's not even registered.
Is he not?
Nah, he's not, man.
To the FA Cup?
He's been becoming a pundit recently.
Out of teams in the 10th division of football playing the FA Cup and Phil Jones can't. I don't understand the concept.
No, you know what
He's
it
on a
is, bro.
side
I'm not
quest
lying
now,
to you,
Phil
man.
Jones. He's doing a
It's
side
Wow.
quest.
He's on Bosch.
Sad
Remember,
story,
Saeed,
man.
remember? Nah, seriously, Saeed, remember that game that Phil Jones played last season? It was like the best centre-back performance that I saw from anyone.
Yeah, I know. I remember that game.
Bosch?
Yeah. But you know what's mad, though? With the Phil Jones, man, it's quite sad. He looks quite ill, man. He looks like, I don't know, man. He doesn't look...
Oh,
look
I don't
right,
feel
man.
sorry for him. He's on dough on the bench, lads. I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Listen, man, I don't know, man. He doesn't look well to me, man. That's just the thing. For me, he doesn't look well. But listen, I think all in all, if Luke Shaw comes back and Rashford comes back, I think we've got a fighting chance. And I think then I might feel a bit confident. But right now, Brighton, man, bro, they should have won 6-7. Like, that was that dominant, that game. They slapped them up. But again, like Toby said, they're not clinical enough. That's one thing they're not. And if we get early goal, we rock them up, and then we do what Newcastle did, get the second goal, and then just sit back and defend. That's what we can do.
You still have to play. You still have to play them in the league as well, don't you?
Yeah, in the league as well. I don't know when that's going to get rescheduled. I'll be honest with you, because of the way we're in the Europa League.
They were tough running, Brighton. They were very tough running, which is why I wouldn't be so confident in them pushing for.
But then so do Aston Villa as well. A lot of people are talking about Aston
Villa got tougher in the world.
They still obviously. I think I'm sure they'll beat us, but they still got to play Man United. They still got to play Brighton as well. I can't remember. I think they
Liverpool.
So they got tough games. They got tough games. The same way we have tough games. Everyone around us have tough games as well.
Yeah, let's look at the super chats now, and then wrap it up to do it as well. Karen took the kid, says Fat Frank will win 3 in a row, and Todd will give him an 8-year contract. Chelsea. Probably ended the team talk with USA chants. Football Heritage TV. Really enjoyed this tonight. Big up Turkish Tobes and the whole panel. Much love, Sava. Big up Sava, my guy. I hope you're well. And yeah, people show some love to Sava. If you saw his debut the other week, then you know what he's about, who he is. If you didn't, then go check out his channel and go check out that show. This pressing by James on SAEED, says Hassan. Fire.
It's not even like that. It's not even like that.
Yeah.
And Mark says, happy with the result, Martial, Anthony, and Bruno balling. Worried about the injuries we have. Also, out of context, Tobes, Ghana, clear of Nigeria.
I agree. Nigeria been disgracing me too much for me to come here and sit on the high horse.
Wow, Toby hates footy, innit, boys? Are you on that? Like, he's just got nothing to back.
No, I think everyone's just doing badly. Nigeria and Tottenham are not doing great.
Yeah.
Both of them just not doing great.
James, obviously.
Oh, you geezer.
Yeah, well, it's that time.
Come
now.
on, fella.
6-1 win. Can't complain.
You know that, fella. Come on, man. Nah, come on, bro. Why do you think I've been out here for, like, I haven't been on YouTube for 2 months? 2 months. I fucked off. I went to the Bahamas. I had a belter. Never went to the Bahamas. I've been in the prime spot of Liverpool. Like, but what a great time to come back. And yes, there was a method to the madness. I'm back after a victory because I'm the heel right now. And I feel like it's one of those things where I'm going into my heel phase and I'm embracing every single second of it. I feel like Matisse has gone through his heel phase. I'm very much in mine. And I'm coming back a new man. And as I come back, Turkish, you can reaffirm this. I agreed the show earlier before the result.
Yeah.
You can back it up. You can back it up. You know, we come back with a new vengeance, and that vengeance is you're as good as your last performance. So I'm happy to wait until our next game, but I'm happy to go off the premise that we're as good as our last performance. And you know what? I feel like it's massively important to say, you know, one thing we don't do enough as fans when we win a game like that, we don't give credit to the other team. It's very hard to give a team credit for when they concede 6 goals and leads, etc. But in Manchester United's best ever season in recent time, and our worst ever season in recent time, their arch nemesis, have you heard the saying, the enemy of the enemy is your friend? They still done better against us than Manchester United. And that's just the thing that I want to leave off there, because SAEED's been talking a lot on this show as if like he has the right to talk to me at all. So based on Leeds, great. I thought he done well in the opening part, and then he left a lot of open spaces throughout the rest of the game. And do you know what? I'm very happy that we just got the results, because it was about efficiency. Salah should have had a hat-trick. I don't know how that goes offside, to be honest. Darwin Núñez came on. By the way, Trent, how may I assist you? Ping. No one's resurfacing that tweet now, though, are you? Fools. So yeah, Trent even looked boss. Someone said it before, the Scouse Pirlo. Great. Everyone always wants to talk about his defence, and when they don't recognise his main role is to attack. And he seemed to go very quiet when that happened. So
I didn't watch the game, but I heard Trent was playing in midfield. Is this something that you can see in the future, or is this just a temporary thing?
I feel like you don't fix what's not broken. If he's good at attacking from the right back and you've got 3 suitable defenders, 1 being the left back, 2 being the centre backs, and you interchange between a back 3 sometimes. Fabinho drops into the back 3. That's why Liverpool was so complicated to beat before, because we were able to interchange a lot, allow Trent to go forward, whereas now he just seems himself in a lot more defensive positions because we kept getting overrun in the midfield on a week-to-week basis. Whereas today, when you give him the licence to go forward, go centrally, which he's done before, he just starts at right back. That's what's on the team sheet. He thrives in full colours because he's a boss footballer.
I think it helps that you're playing. I feel like it helps massively that you guys played up against what I can only describe as arguably the worst team.
Over
the last 2 weeks, the last 2 match days, comfortably the worst team in terms of performances. They were absolutely tragic off the ball. Defensively, they were shocking. Meslier, shocking. Struijk, shocking. McKennie, shocking. Firpo, God help him. They were absolutely diabolical.
Have you seen our records against bottom half teams?
I have exactly, and that's what makes the performance even worse from Leeds, because it doesn't take a lot to beat Liverpool. When they're traveling.
We smashed them.
When they're traveling, and yet you guys absolutely destroyed them, and you have the players to do that. But I didn't get why Leeds felt that you didn't have the players to do that. It felt like Leeds were just expecting that Liverpool were just going to come with acres of space and time to do whatever they want and not score. It was mental to me. Even some of the watching the game. I genuinely watching the game. I actually couldn't believe what I was watching. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Genuinely.
It's a masterclass. What can I say?
SAEED, back me up on this, man, because you watched it as well, man.
No. Leeds still done better than United.
I think for me, you got to
be
remember,
very careful.
That the space that Leeds left him behind. I think Trent. Listen, I think he deserves his praise, because I feel like he's been doing them kind of passes a lot of times this season, especially Man City game. I think there was another game where he did it as well. A couple of other games where that pass in behind has been a lethal weapon. But like I said, we've seen this before, man. Liverpool have a big result and then they fall again. You know what I mean? There's still cracks in this Liverpool team. There still are. I think the problems are not gone yet. I really, really do. That Canate moment there, you know what I mean, where the defence got split open again. Listen, Liverpool were deadly. And I think for me, bringing back, you know, the Luis, what's your left hand side, the left winger?
Luis Diaz. Yeah, man.
Yeah, Luis Diaz, Utd scoring goals, Núñez again. You know what I mean? It's good, but I still think for me, a team like Leeds, I don't know what it shows you. It really, it's one of them performances where deadly finishers should be happy, but over the context, I think there's still problems with that Liverpool team. That's just my own opinion.
Agreed.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I didn't get to see it, but I'm just happy to see Trent is playing in midfield. It suits my agenda against TOBS tactically.
That's fine. Let him play up against a midfield with a pulse.
Yo, don't disrespect, man.
Listen, we are gonna. So I was about to wrap it up, but I've got one super chat. HW says Trent is like the 795th fullback to play inverted, yet the media are talking about him like he's just discovered a planet.
Come on, though. It's just because people don't actually see like the fact that he's like played in that position before as well. So they think it's some magical new thing because the midfield always gets overrun, and then obviously it leaves down to Trent because he actually does the box-to-box type stuff where he's going forwards and backwards. So he's got to do a lot of catching up a lot of the time. And you see Henderson and you see Fabinho just standing there like watermelons, and then they don't get the shit because Trent has to deal with the one-on-one. When you actually notice wingers versus defenders, usually it doesn't go well for the defenders. It just gets heavily amplified with Trent. So you've got to recognise what he does well. When you give him the license to do what he does well, then you get what you've been getting.
How do you feel about the whole Bellingham thing?
Actually, I'm going to put us in the same boat as United fans here. I think we're pathetic. I really do. I think we're a pathetic bunch. The way that we reacted to that Bellingham stuff just scrams it all up. I mean, we went and seen successive windows.
The contrast
you were feeling Qatari. You were feeling Qatari for 2 seconds there, Saeed. So hang on a minute.
Why do you have to mention United every time?
No, but you know, like even Grizz. Do you know even Grizz? Grizz probably does have his sources. Don't dispute it. I'm actually not even to chat shit. Here's the thing: the sources are getting it from the football club. The football club are here to manipulate an agenda. So you go ahead and you get excited. You still buy tickets. You believed in some imaginary project, which
what are you trying to say? Grizz is getting manipulated. What are you trying to say?
I believe the whole fan. If Grizz genuinely believe,
say what you say. Just say what you want to say, man.
I'd love to say it, which is what I'm trying to do. If Grizz believed in the ideology that we were going to sign Jude Bellingham based on the fact that he got sources who were linked to the football club, FSG's football club, yet then I do for sure believe got manipulated. I feel like it's in plain daylight. Let's call a spade a spade. Millions upon millions of Liverpool fans who were there jumping on the bandwagon, and to be honest, there was even things I was listening to where I was like, possibly, maybe, but guess what? It always goes down to the definitive premise that the summer window weren't tomorrow, and the fact that it was months away, and the fact that Jude Bellingham and things can change in that time, especially when it comes to FSG. But how do Liverpool fans stay on board? How do we remain consumers? We remain consumers based on excitement. Okay, what's the next big thing? If we get Jude Bellingham, there's the next Steven Gerrard. That was the narrative the whole time. You had Neil Jones coming out and saying it. You had a lot of reliable reporters coming out and suggesting it. And every YouTuber, except one, this guy who never talked about Jude Bellingham, based on the premise of I know my football club, I know my owners. So the difference between me and a lot of Liverpool fans is the fact I can recognise the bullshit. The difference between me and a lot of Manchester United fans with their situation is they don't recognise the bullshit, and they get dead upset and all up in the feelings, even though facts don't care about them. When I call out the inconsistencies of what ownerships are here for and how they can still get lots and lots of money without Qatari money, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great answer. Fantastic. It's a fantastic answer, honestly.
Much better than the shot we got the other day, I must say.
I don't buy into this.
I like that a lot more.
I don't know, man. I think a lot of people are not buying into this monologue. I'm just hearing waffle. I don't know.
No, it's a great. That was a fantastic speech. I think he's spot on. I really do. I think he's absolutely spot on. I think
you haven't made one point that I waffled on.
I think you have been hoodwinked, Saeed, a little bit with the Glazers, and you were outside protesting, and you were saying that green and gold until it's sold, and then suddenly a couple of rumors and a couple of little stories, and now everything's all hunky dory again. I think you've been hoodwinked.
But the thing is,
the Americans are good at it, man. At least Todd Bowley goes out and does his thing.
No, but I think there's a fine line between being a fan and being excited to also having a kind of
no, Saeed, you're just a consumer. That's all you are to them. No, Saeed, seriously. Yeah, if you're going to say I'm talking waffle, please listen to this thing. You're a consumer.
No, because this guy.
Oh, go on.
What's this consumer? Listen, you're a fan.
Because you're a fan to lies. We're going to compete.
Football is about ups and downs, but it's also about having a a medium, and I've had that medium approach. I've said, you know what, I've got excited about the opportunity of Man United getting new ownership, but I also
and
know...
then you're silenced on the protest, which you were so strong about after the Super League. No, Saeed, because you're contradicting yourself.
You're going to let me finish?
Nah, because you've already contradicted yourself. It's an irrelevant point.
There's a lot of PR spin about that. So I have had a balanced view, and those that know me will not understand that. But I've had a balanced view.
When was the last time you protested? And this isn't even a thing that you say, but when was the last time you protested?
I've been protested.
When was the last time you protested? When was the last time you protested? We don't even create protests. We don't create protests. Why do you want me to turn up to a one-man army? James Redmond outside Anfield by himself. We don't even create them.
You're moaning about FSG all the time. Why are you not doing protests?
What do you want me to do? Do you want me to go out there by myself on me ones?
Something about it. I've done something about it. What have you done?
Because you've still got the same owners, you tit.
You're here with your high horse. You're here with your high horse talking about consumer and all that. You're the big consumer, but you've not done anything about it. But yet I have. You're telling me.
What have you done? Because your owners are still the owners, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't understand your logic. I don't understand your logic, my friend. I've done something about it, but you haven't.
Because your owners are still there, so what have you done about it?
Where's your Redmond Army? Where's your Redmond Army?
Hey, listen, lad, you know the Redmond Army, they back you as well, lad, you know what I mean? We've all got a similar community.
Yo, fucking love it.
No, it's not love, it's not love, it's not love. It's not love, man. It's not love.
I love you too, Saeed, you know what I was trying to say.
People don't understand here, Mancunians and Scousers, this is how we kind of,
communicate.
Right?
So this is your language.
We tell them constantly. That's just the way.
This is how you speak to each other in the streets.
This is how we do, man. This is how we do, man.
Just shouting and abuse.
And at the end they go, it's all love, it's all love.
Yeah.
And by the way, to all the United fans in the chat that I have rattled, I don't care. I really don't care. I could not care one bit.
I love when people say that, man. We're not rattled. We're just defending ourselves. You know what I mean? That's all it is.
There's rattle fans in the chat, Saeed. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin says everyone still chants Glazers out at games. I hear it on TV every game loud and clear while winning and losing. Protests have called because we're getting sold, and I think it would increase more if they stay. That one's from Kevin, and that is the last super chat. And listen, first and foremost, big up James Redmond for slotting in for Grizz tonight. James, you're more than available and welcome to be on the show this Thursday, 10:30, because Grizz is not available. You can let me know on that one if you want.
I'm there.
But people, go subscribe to James. Obviously, he's on Big Six Extra. That is coming back next week. So make sure you show some love to that as well. But James has got his own channel. So show him some love too. Back making content again. And big up Hugh, Saeed, TOBS, Matisse.
What's TOBS doing there?
I'm trying to point out.
I'm trying to work out for time using bit.
I'm trying to point at James.
This guy. Do you remember when he slapped the badge, but he started slapping the sponsor?
Yeah.
This guy, his coordination is insane, bro.
It is mad. People, listen, before we wrap it up, like I said, show some love to the team. Make sure you subscribe right here as well, people. Show some love to the video. We've passed 1,000 likes. We haven't touched 2 yet. We've still got 5.2k in the building, so let's get it to 2k likes and show some love to Factor in the US as well. If you do purchase something from them, if you do subscribe, then screenshot it, send it to my Instagram, put a question with it, and I'll get it answered on one of the shows coming up. They got Factor, like I said, description below. There's a link, there's a code. You can do all of that. 50% off your first order, 20% for the next 4. And we are back Thursday, 10:30, people, after the European fixtures. Peace. We're out.